She had been kicked out of the home by her father.
Disowned by her own family.
Why did you leave your grandmother's house?
She had called the police on me. I can't believe that a grandma would do that.
Or brainwashed by her stepmom.
You are her guardian for some bizarre reason.
I'm raising her.
You should not encourage her in cutting off ties with a biological family.
Judge Judy.
You are not.
16-year-old Valerie Durant says her grandmother, Jan Lockhart, won't return money she gave her to hold.
Now, what did you... Go ahead.
Can I just please say something? I had Valerie for a year and a half. I went up there Christmas to get her. She had been kicked out of the home by her father and her stepmother.
I assume.
She walked up a highway carrying bags when she was 14 years old.
I assume.
I have a statement from the counselor that I took her to that plainly states the very things that Valerie said herself about her relationship with her father and them kicking her out. I have that.
I assume that she
and I
came
went
to
up
live
there
with you
with
for that reason.
The best of intentions. She wasn't going to school. She was allowed to smoke on the conditions she smoked in the den by the fireplace. She was given wine coolers. Now, this is what I'm told by Valerie.
Okay. Why did she leave your house?
She left my home because it started with her boyfriend. I went to her room, and the reason I have this class ring receipt is because it was in her room, in her hope chest, which I have a letter from Valerie stating that, also stating that she doesn't know how much money there was. I mean, it's just, this is where I paid the $50 down on the class ring. I did have $125 from her mother for the class ring, but the money that Valerie got for her birthday was in Iowa, except the $100 she received from her dad in her bedroom when I was standing right there.
And it's your statement that she spent it.
And it is gone.
Okay. Why did you leave your grandmother's house?
Because me and my boyfriend, we had some trouble. And
What do you mean you and your boyfriend, you had some trouble?
We had sex.
And?
And then she found out about it.
And?
And after that, she wouldn't let me call my dad to ask for him to come and get me.
How old's the boyfriend?
He's 16. She told many people that she was keeping the class ring money to pay for an attorney because she pushed him in church.
She pushed him in church?
Yes.
All right.
They never went to court over that, though. But she told me that she was going to keep the money for that. And also, one of the reasons why I left her house was because we was having way too many problems. She wouldn't let me call my dad, so I told her that I was going to the neighbor's house. And then when I went to the neighbor's house, she had called the police on me. And the police came, and she told the police that I had ran away and that I kicked in their door. I was really upset that she would do something like that.
Because she's a bad person, is that what you're telling me?
I'm just saying,
I'm asking you a question.
I can't believe that a grandma would do that, you know.
You think she was trying to be vicious and mean to you?
Yes, I do, because I did not run away. I told her where I was going.
Just a second. I'm just asking you. You think that she's trying to be vicious and mean to you?
Yes.
Where's the boyfriend?
He's in Arkansas. I don't go out with him anymore.
Why not?
Because I moved to Iowa.
Does he call you all the time?
Not anymore. We used to. He used to call every night at 9.
When did he stop?
After we broke up.
Why did you break up?
Because I was going to school and going to work, and I didn't have time to talk to him.
Oh, I don't believe that, my dear. That's a fib. Going to school and going to work doesn't mean that you can't talk to him at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, so that, I don't buy that.
She's not allowed to talk on the phone after certain hours.
Miss Durant, you are nothing but trouble.
Well, that may be.
You are nothing but trouble. What I'm telling you is if you find yourself in the unenviable position of having a 16-year-old that you're in charge of, because according to you, father works all the time and the mother is not capable, I'm going to tell you that you should not, under any circumstances, encourage her or importune her or support her in cutting off ties with a biological family. That is a very stupid thing.
I do not do that.
Very stupid thing. Well, you're being here today. Your being here today suggests to me that you do, because but for your intervention, she could have not proceeded with this case today, since you are her guardian for some bizarre reason. So if it were me, I would have said to her, listen, you're not talking about a lot. I don't know how much money your husband sent to Grandma for taking care of her for the year and a half she was there. How many thousands of dollars a month did he send?
$150.
A month?
A month.
A month. You can't feed a large goldfish for $150 a month. So her grandmother supported her, took care of her for a year and a half. Far more than
And
a couple
we're
$100
grateful
for
that
a
she
class ring. For a class ring, which I don't see why she needs, because she left her grandmother before school was out. Your case is dismissed. Be smart. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It wasn't the $350.
It wasn't about the money.
She has got to learn lessons in her life.
I was just wanting her to feel what she did to me, you know,
That you suffer the consequences for your actions.
of her lying and stealing from her own granddaughter.
With the parental guidance that she has at this time,
I hope that her conscience gets to her.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I think it's very sad.
I just think it's pretty pathetic that me being an outsider, I have to take care of her.
But regardless, I love her. She'll always be my daughter.
Can't get her own mother to take care of her.
And I always want what's best for her.
It really bothers me. It hurts my heart.
Oh, I'm happy the way that I'm living now.
She knows my phone number.
So things are just normal for me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Avila versus Young. Step forward, please.
22-year-old homemaker Crystal Avila is suing her ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old construction worker Justin Young, for the cost of a broken windshield. Justin claims the window was broken by Crystal's 4-year-old daughter.
Have a seat.
Miss Avila, this is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
She's 4.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Young used to be your boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, Mr. Young?
19.
19.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
22.
He's not your boyfriend anymore?
No, ma'am.
Good. According to your complaint, you went into the grocery store and left Mr. Young in the car with your daughter,
Yes,
just the
ma'am.
2 of them. And while you were in the grocery store, the windshield of your car got broken.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was done by people inside the car.
Yes, that's what I heard
Just
at
a second.
first.
Just a second.
Okay.
By people inside the car, which was either Mr. Young or your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
You want Mr. Young to pay for the windshield.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Young says he's not going to pay for the windshield because your daughter broke the windshield.
Or she helped.
Or she helped. So, Mr. Young, I have a few questions for you. Were you the passenger in this car?
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Avila stopped at the grocery store to run in for a minute?
Yes, ma'am.
And she asked you to watch, what's this little girl's name?
Jackie.
She asked you to watch Jackie while she ran in to get what in the grocery store?
Just a couple.
What was she going to get?
Chuck.
Cash a check. I was getting
Oh,
my
cash a
pay.
check.
Yeah.
Smart girl. Now, you want to tell me how the windshield got broken while she wasn't in the car and you were babysitting?
Jackie got out of the car and got on the hood. It was,
She got out of the car.
yes, ma'am.
Were you in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
She overpowered you?
No, ma'am.
I just want to try to understand that. She got out of the car. She overpowered you and got out of the car. And then what happened?
I let her get out of the car.
What?
I let her get out of the car.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And get on the hood.
And she managed to get up on the hood by herself, or did you put her on the hood?
She got up there by herself.
How did she do that? She's a little teeny girl.
She crawled up there.
She went on the front bumper first.
Yes, ma'am.
She got herself on the front bumper first, and then she crawled up on the hood of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And where were you when she was doing this?
I was inside the car.
What were you doing inside the car?
Just waiting.
After she overpowered you and got out of the car and managed to get up on the bumper, crawl up the hood of the car, and she's on the windshield, and you were inside the car waiting.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Young, weren't you worried that something would happen to Jackie?
I was watching her. No, ma'am.
You were watching her
Yes.
crawl up on the hood of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in construction.
What do you do in construction?
Asphalt.
You don't have children, do you?
No, ma'am.
How much did the windshield cost to have fixed?
The first estimate I got was $316.
You still didn't tell me, Mr. Young, how the windshield got broken.
She was kicking it.
When she started kicking it, did you tell her to stop?
Yes, ma'am.
You were inside the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you yell outside the window?
No, ma'am. I hit the window back, trying to get her attention, tell her to stop.
So you hit the window to
Yes,
tell her to
ma'am.
stop.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that how the window broke?
Yes, ma'am.
Her kicking it and you punching it to tell her to stop?
Yes, ma'am. I wasn't punching it, I was tapping it.
Tapping it.
Yes, ma'am.
You still don't think this is your fault?
No, ma'am.
Hello? And may I? Hello? You don't let a 4-year-old outside of a car unattended, because I really don't believe that she overpowered you and got out of the car.
Yes.
And then if you see her jumping up on the bumper, according to you, and then crawling on the hood of the car to the windshield, a normal, semi-intelligent person would have hopped out of the car and because they would have been afraid for the child's safety. Mr. Young.
Yes.
So now you're going to tell me, whose fault was this?
It's my fault for that now.
Yes! Yes, just stop there. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $316. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I trusted him to watch her.
Maybe I should have.
Evidently, he wasn't.
Watch the child a little better.
My windshield got broke.
He punched it 3 times.
It's probably about 3 times.
It's done and over.
She discovered his jilted ex,
She was out in the driveway with a can of spray paint.
but she never expected to discover this. Sierra's for vandalizing Annette's car with spray paint. Janie is countersuing for harassment.
Yes, case number 242 on the calendar in the matter of Hales, Stevens versus Gutierrez. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. Stevens, Miss Gutierrez and you used to be an item. You were boyfriend and girlfriend for a while, is that right?
That is correct.
And you are currently attached to Miss Hale.
I'm currently seeing Miss Hale, that is correct.
According to the complaint that I have, the two of you say that Miss Gutierrez did not accept the breakup well, and she has embarked upon a course of conduct that is harassment. She's vandalized your property. She's repeatedly written notes, spray painted your car, spray painted your house, and you want her to stop this harassment. You have a series of police reports, 7 or 8 of them, over a period of several months. You want $4,000 in damages. Ms. Gutierrez says there is no way that she's responsible for any of the damage that you claim. As a matter of fact, she can prove that to me because she was hospitalized and she had just undergone some major surgery at a time when you claim she was running around spray painting your house. And she is counterclaiming because she says because of your complaints about her to the police, she lost her job. How long were you and Ms. Gutierrez together?
Approximately 26 months.
Did you live together?
No, ma'am.
And when did you stop seeing each other?
We formally broke it off December of 2003. While she was in hospital in January and February, I visited her. It was a life-threatening surgery. During that time, I was very explicit that I didn't want to maintain the relationship as a boyfriend-girlfriend.
You mean right after her surgery?
Correct.
That was in '04, January and February of '04.
Yes.
Okay.
The last time I actually spoke to her about the relationship was probably the earliest part of June.
Well, between January and February and the early part of June, were you together? Did you see each other?
We went on a camping trip in May as friends.
How do you go on a camping trip
Well,
with
we were
somebody?
going to try the experience.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you go with somebody on a camping trip in May that you're told you don't want a relationship with several months before, and then tell me you went as friends?
The reason was I don't believe that that's usually a healthy thing, but I thought that she would be mature about it.
Be mature about what?
To be able to be a friend after you've been in a deep relationship with someone, and to handle it as friends.
So you decided to handle it as friends by going away on a camping trip together. Now, let me ask you about this camping trip. How many people went on the camping trip?
It was just the two of us.
And shh. And did you have one tent or two?
We had one tent.
And did you share that tent, or did you sleep on the sofa?
No, we shared the tent.
Were you intimate during the course of this camping
No,
trip?
ma'am, we were not.
Is that true?
That's correct. It's kind of hard to do anything in a tent.
Where there's a will, there's a way. So what happened during this trip in May?
Well, we talked about a lot of things. I told her she still had feelings for me and voiced that to me, and I told her that I didn't want to continue, that I wanted to start seeing other people, and I encouraged her to do the same.
How long was this camping trip?
It was just a weekend.
When did you have this conversation with her, on Friday or Sunday?
In regard to?
Not wanting to have a relationship with her anymore.
Well, it had been sort of ongoing. I can't recall it like a specific time.
Your Honor, we never talked about it. We went out and had a good time. The following weekend was Memorial Weekend. I spent the entire holiday weekend with them.
That sound right, sir?
I only recall the camping trip.
Well, let's try to recall the following weekend. She said she spent the entire weekend with you.
I know that what I do...
She's going to be able to prove everything that she says. I want you to trust me, so I want you to think hard. We're not talking about so long ago, sir. You went camping. She says the following weekend was Memorial Weekend, and you spent the entire weekend with him. Is that right? Where?
At his home.
At his home?
Yes.
Not in your home?
Friday through Monday.
You didn't have a tent there where it was difficult.
We slept in the same bed, Your Honor.
Think hard.
I am, Your Honor, and I do not recall that. I'm being completely, brutally honest with you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
well, if you don't recall it, she does.
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, so what happened at the end of that Memorial Day weekend, Miss Gutierrez?
We just had a good weekend. We made a nice steak dinner that night. Always ate underneath his hut. He's got a beautiful yard.
Well, when did he tell you that it was over?
We never talked about it.
How did you find out it was over?
On June 2nd, he was supposed to go with me to a Japanese dinner with a friend of mine, and he backed out. After dinner, I went to the club looking for him.
What club?
It's the Texas Tux.
Is that where he works?
That's where he picks up his women.
Did you find him?
No, ma'am.
When did you speak to him, if at all, for him to tell you that it was over?
A week and a half after he met Annette on June 5th. He was seeing her, but I didn't know anything about it until a week and a half later.
Miss Hale, when did you meet Mr. Stevens?
June 12th.
6/12.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you meet him?
I met him at the Tux with some friends.
At the Texas Tux?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were immediately attracted to him?
We got along well. Great conversation. Over the next few weeks, we would meet for a drink or dinner or, and that was it.
Did he tell you that he had been in a long-term relationship?
Sure did.
What did he tell you about it?
He had been broke up with her since December 14th.
Okay, that's what he told you?
Mm-hmm.
That he had been out of the relationship for at least 6 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you now know that that's not true.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that before today?
No, ma'am.
We're getting on with
Yes.
this because I want you to hear this, Miss Hale. Before you put all your eggs in his basket, I want you to understand what you're dealing with.
Okay.
Bad enough that one lady got snookered. You don't want that to happen twice.
And he will.
Shh.
Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You understand that the lady standing next to you has certain questions to ask you about what kind of character you have.
Well, ma'am, I'm an Eagle Scout, and I've tried to be as forthright and honest with her about a lot of these issues.
He never was honest with me. I found that out just recently.
He's an Eagle Scout.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Stevens and his girlfriend Annette Hale claim John's ex-girlfriend Janie Gutierrez has been spray painting obscenities on Annette's car.
Now, Mr. Stevens, Miss Hale tells me that you told her that you were in a long-term relationship which terminated in December.
That's when it formally terminated. That's when we had a
That's not what you told me 2 minutes ago, sir.
No, but I'm just saying, what happened, that was the formal end of the romantic relationship. I did have a continued relationship, but it was not a romantic one with Miss Gutierrez.
Well, maybe you weren't romantic, sir. Did you tell Miss Hale that you had been on a camping trip with her?
I told Miss Hale about a lot of...
Did you tell her you had been on a camping trip with her 2 weeks before?
I don't recall if I told her about the camping
Well,
trip.
let's see. Did he tell you about the camping trip?
Yes, ma'am, but I was not aware they were alone. I was aware that there were a lot of people.
Oh, well, tell me about what he told you about the camping trip.
I thought they had gone with friends on a camping trip and that it was strictly friendly and that was it. And she couldn't accept that, and so he told her they couldn't be friends. That's what I was told. Yes.
There isn't a question in my mind, Miss Hale, that on Memorial Day weekend, they spent the weekend together. Because she remembers it down to what they had for dinner, and he just doesn't remember. Exactly. Just doesn't remember that. Could have happened, but he doesn't remember it.
Right.
Okay. Now, Miss Hale, I'd like you to tell me what kind of vandalism you suffered and when.
Okay. The first one started on June 25th. I have police reports.
Can I see it,
and
please?
Pictures.
Was there a word written here? I can't tell what it says.
It starts, but it just never gets to that last letter.
Okay. Well, this happened June 25th. What proof do you have that Miss Gutierrez caused this damage to your car?
Well, I have 2 other police reports. The painting happened 2 other times to my car. I have pictures of it also. And the fact that on July 31st, we were trying to wait up and watch for her since it was becoming every week. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, the dog started going crazy, and she was out in the driveway with a can of spray paint.
But, Your Honor, she neglected to tell you that I got a prank joke from the police officer at 3:30 in the morning. They said that they had a witness for me spray painting the garage in her car, and they told me if I didn't come to the scene and bring my spray paint to the scene, if I had any spray paint, to bring it, otherwise they would arrest me. He made the prank call. So I came up there with the can of spray paint that was never used at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Did you call her?
No, ma'am.
That doesn't sound right to me, Miss Gutierrez.
It is, Judge Judy. They woke me up at 3:30 in the morning.
Where did you get a can of spray paint?
I bought 3 cans 6 years ago. It took 2 cans to spray one of my piece of furniture.
What color?
It was a burgundy.
Miss Gutierrez.
But the 3rd paint can I never used. I used both of them on the piece of furniture 6 years ago.
What color was the...
The 3rd time was burgundy.
Can I see it, please?
And the same night, 25 miles away, she painted his garage burgundy. And we have pictures.
Yeah.
See it.
Some pictures of my garage.
The gold paint was the 2nd time. That was the 3rd with the burgundy on his garage.
What date was this?
That one was July the 16th, the burgundy paint.
Now, Ms. Gutierrez, according to your answer, you say that it was impossible for you to have done this on the 16th of July because you had either just had surgery or you were recuperating from major surgery. What kind of surgery?
I broke my neck in January. I was paralyzed.
Until when?
I just got the machine off the back of my neck last week, and also my PICC line that I've had since January.
Well, that didn't prevent you from getting around in July.
Your Honor,
You were not bedridden in July.
I was on a machine, and I had home care come 3 times a week.
That doesn't make any sense.
I was restricted to
You're not
work and
answering
back
my
home.
question. Were you mobile during the month of July?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, because at some point in July, you went over to the house at 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
When I got the phone call, Your
When you
Honor.
got the phone call, you were able to get up out of your house and go over to his house with a can of spray paint. So you were, in fact, mobile. So there was nothing physiologically wrong with you that precluded you from getting into a car and traveling, unless somebody drove you there. Did somebody drive you there?
No, ma'am.
You drove yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Gutierrez, I would have been very angry with him, too.
But not enough for me to spray paint, Your Honor. I'm not violent.
That's not being violent. Not violent. It's being vindictive. It's a criminal act. It's not per se a violent act. But I don't see why you would want to spray paint her car. She got snookered in by this guy.
I have nothing against her, Your Honor.
Of course not. You shouldn't. The only thing that you both suffer from is from terrible judgment. You understand that the lady standing next to you has certain questions to ask you about what kind of character you have after today.
Well, ma'am, I'm an Eagle Scout, and I've tried to be as forthright and honest with her about a lot of these issues.
He never was honest with me. I found that out just recently.
He's an Eagle Scout.
Doesn't mean I'm perfect,
They're
Your
going to
Honor.
take your badges away from you, Mr. Stevens. How much did it cost you to clean up your car?
Well, we kept using different methods to get the paint off, but I've got estimates. It's practically down to the metal because 3 times getting paint off, it takes it away. So I've got 2 estimates and an estimate from Hertz on renting a car while it's getting fixed.
Did you get the paint off your garage door? Mr. Stevens?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I used some chemicals, but it's left it down to taking the top coating off.
So I think you ought to get a can of paint, and while you're painting, I think you should keep repeating to yourself, I cannot tell a lie, I will always tell the truth. I am an Eagle Scout. See what kind of trouble you cause when you're not honest with people?
Ma'am, I've tried to be honest throughout this ordeal.
No. Let me explain something to you, Mr. Stevens. If you told this lady back in January and February that you were no longer interested in a relationship with her, and she could not accept that, that would have been her problem. But if you were waffing around until you found something better and took her away on a camping trip, and then the following weekend either shared her bed or allowed her to share yours with a view towards perhaps I have nothing better to do this weekend, that means that what you are doing is you are playing fast and loose with somebody else's emotions. And that, sir, is very cruel. And then when you meet this lady, you give her a whole bunch of junk, painting a picture to her that is not accurate, because I'm sure that when she was suffering this damage to her car, you were telling her, I don't know what's wrong with her. I broke up with her in December. That's 7 months ago. She just can't accept it. She didn't know that you were leading her on over the course of the next 6 or 7 months, up until a couple of months before this happened. She didn't know that. That's not being honest, sir. And sometimes damage comes from not being honest. So I suggest you go out there and get yourself a can of paint, put on some jeans, and paint your garage doors. You get $1,400 to paint your car. Judgment for the plaintiff, and your counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Obviously, there was a relationship that broke apart and someone couldn't let go.
It destroyed me because my plans were to marry him.
I don't think I got the whole truth from either one of them.
Sort of painted me today like I was very untruthful and not upfront and honest.
He lied not only to me, but his new girlfriend.
I feel like I'm a victim in this.
My advice to her is she needs to check out someone's history thoroughly before jumping in bed with them.
I shouldn't have to live in fear where someone's going to come by, destroy my property, and come over at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I hope this is the end of it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bowman versus Schmelzer, step forward, please.
20-year-old student Elizabeth Bowman is suing her ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old student Mark Schmelzer, for an unpaid cell phone bill and cancellation fees. Mark says all he wants is for Elizabeth to leave him alone.
Miss Bowman, the defendant was your boyfriend for a period of time. During the time he was your boyfriend, you got a cell phone, you signed the contract, you gave him a cell phone, you broke up with him, you got back the cell phone, but you had certain charges on the cell phone, including a turn-in fee for his cell phone and a breach of contract for the service, so you want him to pay for that. That's what the case is about,
Correct.
right? When did you get the phone?
May of last year.
And when you got the phone and signed the contract, how old was Mr. Schmelzer?
Yes.
17.
17. And why didn't he get a contract?
Because he wasn't 18. You can't unless you're 18.
And why is that?
Can't be held accountable.
Right. You can't be held liable on a contract if you are a minor. And that's why he didn't sign the contract, right?
Correct.
That's why he can't make a contract with you. Do you understand?
Yes.
Got it? Do you understand that you have no case?
Yes.
Okay, good. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She was a grown-up. She could make her own decisions.
I'm glad people can go over and get away with it.
She's the one that allowed herself to be manipulated, so
He did it on purpose just to spite me.
I think she just made a bad choice.
Screwed me over in a lot of money.
A minor can't be liable to any contract.
I learned my lesson.
Did I know that I wouldn't be liable? Yeah, I did. That's why I went into it.
Never to lend anyone money.
Watch out for Elizabeth's.
She was assaulted in your bar by one of your employees.
She'd hit me on my head.
A victim of customer brutality?
What did she hit you with?
A closed fist. I felt dizzy.
Or was it business as usual?
They refused to call any assistance for me. The bouncer told me to go home and drink it off.
Judge Judy.
A member of your staff assaults her.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Wade, you own a bar?
Yes.
The plaintiff was a patron in that bar?
Yes.
You had an employee in that bar? Female employee?
Yes.
In what capacity did you employ this woman?
The woman is a security.
And according to Miss Legos, this female security guard at your bar assaulted her. without provocation. Now, there is some merit to her statement because this security guard pled guilty to assault, correct?
As far as I know, yes.
Let us take that as a given. She pled guilty and then she fled the jurisdiction after sentencing. That's what it says here, right?
Yes.
Ms. Lagos said she was injured and she wants to be compensated.
Correct.
When were you assaulted in Mr. Wade's bar?
On November 27th of 2003.
Tell me about it.
I was at the bar with a girlfriend. I have never been to that bar before. I went into the bar. I lost my friend. So I proceeded towards where I saw a bouncer at the exit. I asked him, what do people do when they lose their friends? He told me that I can try calling her on my cell phone, which I proceeded to do. And then afterwards, when I tried to come back in, he wouldn't let me back in. And so I was just inquiring on, well, how do I get back in? I'm lost. I've never been here before. And then out of nowhere, the security guard that came in, and she didn't know the conversation at all, and she just butted in and said, what's the problem? And I told her, I said, you know, please don't talk to me that way. You don't know what's going on. And then out of nowhere, she'd hit me on the right side of my head. I started crying. I've never been in a fight before. I asked the bouncer to get me assistance. I felt dizzy. I felt like I was going to pass out.
When she hit you, what did she hit you with?
A closed fist. The bouncer told me at that point to go home and drink it off. It happens all the time. They refused to call the owner. They refused to call any assistance for me. So I went on my cell phone. Another person who was there helped me walk to my car, and I dialed 911.
Either one of you there that evening?
Right, yes.
Were you at the door?
Yes.
Step up. Tell me your name.
Kevin Kinzis.
How long have you worked for Mr. Wade?
I'm a customer there.
You were a customer?
Right.
A regular customer?
Yes.
How did it come about that you accompanied Mr. Wade to court today?
Just, I came back there and asked what happened.
Came back
I came back to the establishment and asked him what happened because I saw a bunch of stuff going on at the back exit.
Well, what kind of stuff did you see going on, Mr. Kinsis?
Well, I was leaving through the other exit, and I seen her going through this exit.
Yes.
And I saw the bouncer saying, you can't come in through this exit. And it just...
And what?
This girl came by and...
Which girl?
This security guard.
Security guard came by and?
She said, shut up, you bull dyke, beep, and then, like, flicked her hair.
What? Who said what to whom, sir? You're not being clear. I want you to be clear.
The security guard.
Security guard said to her.
You cannot come in through here.
Yes.
And I heard, shut up, you bull dyke.
Who said it?
The security guard said it to her.
To her. So the security guard cursed her.
Right.
And then hit her.
Well, flicked her, not... I mean, hit her, just like flicked her hair.
And then what did you hear?
That was it. I just left.
So you didn't that really wasn't much of an incident?
No.
So what did you go find Mr. Wade for?
I just asked him what happened that night.
When did you ask him what happened that night?
Probably a week later.
Why would you even think about asking him what happened a week later, sir, if what you described to me was truthful, Mr. Kinsis, that nothing happened, somebody got their hair flicked? Why would that even stay in your mind, Mr. Kinsis?
I just asked him what happened back there, and he told me.
What did he tell you?
That some girl tried getting into the exit, and, are you a witness? And I said, yes, I saw. What happened?
Sit down. Huh? Aren't you sorry you made a fool of yourself?
Yeah.
Sit down.
All right.
Good. Mr. Wade, Mr. Kinsis is sorry he made a fool of himself.
I think he's scared.
Now, were you hospitalized?
No, I didn't have insurance at that time.
Just listen to me. Answer my question. Were you hospitalized?
No, ma'am.
When for the first time did you seek medical assistance?
The next morning.
Do you have a report from a doctor?
I do, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
Can I add something?
Yes.
In case you can't read it, the last paragraph of this police report basically says the detective had a call because the...
May I see the police
Yes.
report, please?
Here's the police report, and here's the last paragraph right here.
Oh. Okay. Any medical follow-up?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see it, please?
Anything else you got?
No, sir. I have the docket report. I don't know if you need that.
What's your last name?
Dewberry.
What are you doing here?
I was the one that discussed this with her, settling.
You work for Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Stand up, please. What did you discuss with her?
I discussed going over her medical bills with her and coming up with a settlement for the incident that had happened.
When did you first have your conversation with her?
In July of 2004.
When did Miss Mullen plead guilty?
I don't know.
When?
She pled guilty at the end of April of 2004 by the district attorney.
So what took you so long? Why did you wait until July?
That's when I was first contacted by her.
When had she contacted you, Mr. Wade?
About June.
Not before June?
No.
Even though this incident happened in November?
Right.
Is that right?
No, ma'am, it's not right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
According to the police, this lady was not intoxicated. She was not sloppy. What are you laughing at? Are you inappropriate or what?
And later today,
women don't like to be made a fool of. Sometimes they cut your clothes in half with you in them.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Julie Lagos claims nightclub owner Jack Wade owes for damages from an assault. Julie claims she was punched in the head by a female bouncer.
Now, when did you first
I first contacted him in December. He said that he was willing to work with me, but he was not going to settle with me for anything until he knew whether or not Lisa pled guilty by the district attorney.
That sounds right. This lady didn't wait, sir, until June. She went to the doctor right away, and she contacted you right away.
That's not true. She told me in June. I didn't know that anything was going on with her. She called me. She told me she'd been there. And
let me tell you something, sir.
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
You see this gentleman over here? He came and testified a moment ago at your request. He said that he spoke to you a week after the incident, which would have been in December.
Yes.
And you asked him if he could be a witness.
No, I didn't ask him if he would be a witness.
He volunteered to be a witness.
No, he coming to me. No.
Right?
Right.
Right. That's what he says, Mr. Wade. Volunteered to be a witness. Now, why would you need a witness if the plaintiff did not contact you from November until June?
He came to me in December, and he said, I was out there that night and heard this commotion, a bunch of yelling. And I said, oh, I said, did you see it? And he said, yeah. I said, what happened? He didn't know why she was yelling and all, just what he saw.
Mr. Wade, you're pulling my leg, sir.
No, I'm not pulling your leg.
Yeah, you are, sir. You're pulling my leg.
No, I'm not.
Because this lady did not wait after she was assaulted in your bar 7 months before she contacted you to be compensated for the assault. Let's get over that, because it doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, Mr. Wade, it's not true.
No.
Now,
I have a document here in July that she faxed us stating the damage done to her in July on her own father's fax machine.
Just 1 second. I'm not saying she didn't fax you that in July. I'm not saying she didn't contact you in June. I'm saying it was not the first time she contacted you. The first time she contacted you was prior to June. Now, when was your settlement negotiation with her?
I started discussing them with her in July.
What did you offer her?
I didn't offer anything. I offered to go over the medical bills with her.
Yes.
And come to some sort of settlement. She was first seeking $10,000.
Yes.
We met again, and we came down to a $5,000 settlement based on the fact that these bills were true.
Okay, well, did you read the report from the detective?
No, I didn't receive that.
The report from the detective indicates that the detective had conversations with a treating physician, whose report I do have here, who indicates that she was in fact injured, that the tenderness in her head was consistent with that injury, that in the opinion of the doctor it was a result of being hit in the head. Okay? Now, whether she had medical bills or not, even if she had no medical bills, you're still responsible. You're liable. You hired somebody to work in your establishment who you shouldn't have hired. I don't know what kind of background investigation you did, but certainly you're responsible. If somebody walks into your bar and a member of your staff assaults them, you're liable. You're liable for her pain and suffering. You're liable for her humiliation. You're liable if she gets dizzy, if she has flashbacks, if she has nightmares. Don't you get that, Mr. Wade?
I understand that. That's why we asked Kim to settle with her to see what the amount would be.
Well, then let me ask you this question, sir. What was the amount that you ultimately offered her?
They talked a discussion about $5,000. And she was
so what
ready.
are you doing here? If you offered her $5,000 and that's the maximum that this court can award, why are you here?
When Kim went to settle with her, we said about 7 to 10 days that we'd check the bills and get back to her. Now, on the 9th day, she called Kim up, yelling and screaming at her, and said, if we don't have the money by 5 o'clock that day, the deal's off.
Let me ask you a question. If you said you understood what I just said to you, that whether she had medical bills or not, she was assaulted in your bar by one of your employees, and you are responsible. If she had a headache for 3 days, if she had dizziness, if she had tenderness in her head, which is consistent with the medical reports that are here from the detectives. You're responsible. How long did it take you from July to get back to her?
It was probably August when I was told that we'd probably, if he agreed to it, we'd settle in 7 to 10 days. On the 9th day, she called me and told me I better effing figure out a way to get her money tonight or I'd be sorry. Then she called me back again.
So just a minute. So you told her you were going to settle with her in 7 to 10 days. On the 7th day, you didn't settle with her. Get her a check. On the 8th day, you didn't settle with her. On the 9th day, you didn't call her. She called you.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, can I say something?
Sure.
The 7th and 8th day was on a Saturday and Sunday.
Then she shouldn't have said to her 7 to 10 days. She should have said to her 10 to 14 days.
I didn't do that.
You have a responsibility, Mr. Wade, that when you hire a security guard in your place of business, that you've done an appropriate background check. Now, I'm not going to ask you what kind of background check you did on this woman, because I don't think you did one. Because anybody who is convicted of assault and then takes off, this is not their first offense. This is not the first time that they have been involved in the law. That's your responsibility. And if because of your dereliction and your responsibility to make sure that not only are your doors covered, that people don't sneak in, but that your patrons are safe in your establishment, safe from being assaulted.
Julie Lagos claims nightclub owner Jack Wade owes for damages from an assault. Julie claims she was punched in the head by a female bouncer.
Now, according to the police, this lady was not intoxicated. She was not sloppy. What are you laughing at? Are you inappropriate or what?
She said she filed a report the next day. I just heard her say that.
On 11/27, date of the incident, I was dispatched. I officer was dispatched to South Manchester. Is that where you are, sir?
Yes.
All right. She was not intoxicated. That's the detectives. Why do you think this is funny?
I'm not laughing at you.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm very excited that justice was served.
I don't want to get into that.
Words can't even say. I've tried and tried again, and he played me, and now he's the one that got played.
I have nothing to say.
He was slick and just didn't want to deal with Julie.
I don't want to talk about that.
On the last day, he told me, see, try and take me to court, and I took him to court, and I prevailed.
I'm very upset right now.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Andrews versus Amadon Danforth. Step forward, please.
Homemaker Kathleen Andrews is suing her son's ex-girlfriend, 15-year-old student Leanna Danforth, and her mother, Amber Amadon, for the cost of a cell phone. Kathleen claims Leanna smashed the phone when she caught her son cheating.
No. How old are you?
17.
17. Girlfriend? Former girlfriend?
Yes.
Your name?
Leanna.
Your name?
Josh.
All right, Miss Andrews, you bought Josh a phone.
Yes.
Leanna got angry with him because she found out, or she believes she found out, that he wasn't faithful in their relationship, and somehow the phone got broken, right?
Yes.
How'd you break the phone?
I smashed it.
And you want her to pay for the phone?
Yes.
And you say you don't have to pay for the phone because that's what he gets for cheating?
Yes.
You're suing on behalf of your son because he's 17. You're 17?
15.
15. Don't you all have better things to do with your time? How much was this telephone?
$108.
Josh, you go to high school?
Yes.
What time do you go to high school, Josh?
9 a.m. to 2:25 p.m.
And what do you do at 2:25?
I go home.
What do you do when you get home?
Whatever I'm doing that day.
Like? Do you ever have a job?
Yeah, I go to work.
It's what we're talking about, Josh. Where do you go to work?
I work at Wendy's.
How many hours a week?
About 20.
Do you have a new cell phone?
No.
Why not?
I didn't buy one yet.
But you're going to.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
With the money that you get from your job, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Then your mother's not out any money. Look, Miss Andrews, your son is 17 years old. You want Mrs. Amadon to be responsible for her 15-year-old daughter's hissy fit, right?
Yes.
She had a hissy fit because she got a text message on the phone from a girl, right?
Right.
Now, Miss Amadon, she doesn't know anything about this hissy fit that her daughter pulled off, right?
Right.
I'm going to try to give you an analogy that probably is not a really very good analogy, but I'm going to run it up the flagpole anyway. Let's say, instead of having a hissy fit, Leanne, because the hissy fit is not right, took the phone, smashed it, right?
Yes.
Because maybe he didn't do the right thing socially, right? You have another friend that was text messaging you?
Yes.
Let's say one of these two teenagers gave the other a sexually transmitted disease. You think that either one of you mothers would be responsible for that?
No.
No. So why do you think Miss Amadon should be responsible for her daughter's hissy fit?
Because the phone was in my name. And I got it so I could keep track of him, you know, so I could call and check where he was going, who he was with, type deal. And
he used it for other things, too. I don't see Mrs. Amadon paying for her daughter's hissy fit. So you're going to buy yourself a new phone from your money at Wendy's, right?
Yes.
This is a very, very good lesson for you, Josh. Women don't like to be made a fool of. Sometimes they cut your clothes in half with you in them. Sometimes they take bleach and they pour it all over the interior of your car. That's what women do. Right?
Yes.
Men don't react that way. You know, they just go out there and get dirty. Women think about how they're going to get even. So I want you to think about that next time you have a girlfriend and decide that while you have an exclusive girlfriend, you decide to be a non-exclusive. That's not saying you have to be exclusive. I think you should play the field until you're 40 if you want to. But if you decide to be exclusive and you're messing around, I want you to expect the unexpected. Always happen. Got it?
Yes.
Goodbye.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
I think that she was wrong in breaking the phone.
She smashed it. That's the bottom line.
Jealousy.
It don't matter why she smashed it. That was irrelevant to the whole entire thing. She smashed my phone. That's the bottom line.
He was talking to some other girl.
I wasn't being honest with her.
He's a player.
I'm not a player.
I'm not going to buy no more phones.
She was hollering and screaming bloody murder.
She was having an altercation with her son.
Did he come to her rescue?
He had his mom pinned in the corner.
Or did this ex-boyfriend go berserk?
He grabbed my face.
Took his hands like this, went boom into the side of the cabinet.
I put him in a headlock.
He had him on the floor punching him.
Judge Judy.
After the incident, you went to bed with him?
Yes, 3 days after.
So 3 days after?
18-year-old Wendell Hicks for medical bills resulting from a fistfight with Wendell. Wendell says Jeff had been spreading rumors about him and a female friend.
Yeah, this is case number 275 in the case of Ratcliffe versus Hicks. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats.
Mr. Ratcliffe, you and this lady, Miss Hicks, had been involved in a relationship. And according to your complaint, there was an altercation where you came to her rescue. She was having an altercation with her son, I assume this young man. As a result of that, you were injured, and Miss Hicks agreed to pay your medical bills. She has not done so. You are no longer a couple, and you want your medical bills paid. Miss Hicks says that you were the aggressor in this altercation with her son. She is suing you for damaging her home and for injuring her son. Is that right?
Correct.
When did this take place, Mr. Ratcliffe?
It was July 8th, 2003.
Tell me how it started.
Well, we received a phone call at the house.
Who's we?
My son and I.
Who answered the phone?
My son. And
Step up. I wasn't saying hello. I was telling you to stand up. Tell me your name.
Alex Ratcliffe.
Alex, did you receive a phone call on the 8th of July?
Yes, I did.
Who was on the other end of the phone?
Initially, I heard Kim screaming in the background.
Kim, is that you? Miss Hicks.
Miss Hicks. I initially heard her screaming in the background, but
Wendell was talking to me, and he asked to speak to my father. And when I went to go give my dad the phone, I heard her in the background screaming for help and asking for my dad.
You went and got your father?
Yes, I went and got my dad and gave him the phone.
What happened when you picked up the phone? Who was on the other end?
It was Wendell Hicks on the phone, indicating that he was coming to my house to kick my butt, him and 4 boys, because I was supposedly spreading rumors about him and some girl in the neighborhood.
So he said he was coming to your house?
Yes. And he hung up. I returned the phone call back. You could still hear Kim hollering and screaming bloody murder in the background.
What did you hear?
She was just screaming for help.
Well, what did you actually hear her say?
For Wendell to leave her alone.
Okay.
And when the phone call came, I called back because he had hung up, and I'd asked for him to explain himself. For why is he coming to my house? He said it was due to because I'd supposedly spread some rumor about him putting a hickey on the neighbor girl's neck. And so I asked to speak to his mom because I could hear her in the background just screaming bloody murder, and so he hung up the phone, and so I felt the need to go there because she had explained to me many times before.
Just a second. Don't tell me what she explained to you before. Tell me what happened when you got there. You felt the need to go over there.
I went over there, I knocked on the door, and the boy had let me in. I come in the door, and
Which boy let you in?
Wendell Hicks let me in.
Go ahead.
He opened the door, let me in, and I come through the door, and to the right of me was 2 friends of hers in the house. Wendell proceeded to go back around the corner where he had his mom pinned in the corner, and she was screaming.
How was she pinned in the corner?
Just backed up to the corner.
Okay, he didn't have his hands on her.
No, he was right up in her face.
No, but he didn't have his hands on her.
Not at this time.
Okay, so what did you do?
I come up around him, come around the countertop there, and told him to leave her alone. He turned and swung at me and hit me in my left ear with his right arm. At that time, I took him down to the ground and sat on him. And he kept trying to hit me in the face, and I grabbed his wrists to avoid him hitting me. I was sitting on him, and I kept asking, "Are you finished? Is this out of you?" And he said, "Yes," on top of him saying a lot of other foul things, how he's going to shoot me and my kids, and he was going to kill my dogs and burn my fence down. And after about 15, 20 minutes of trying to calm him down, I asked him, "Are you finished?" And finally he said, "Yes." I got up, we kind of shook it off, and the next thing I know, he's coming charging at me with a windmill effect. And in doing so, I put him in a headlock, like with his body sticking out this way, and I wrenched up on him to keep him from doing any more damage. And in doing so, I separated this cartilage here in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And probably another 15, 20 minutes to hold him like that. A few other cuss words are coming out, and I asked, "Are you finished?" And finally he said yes. His sister come through the door after I just let him go, and she backed him all the way down the hall, and that was the last I'd seen of him.
Okay. How long had you been seeing his mother in July of 2003?
Approximately a year.
And after July of 2003, did you continue to see her?
Not right away. She kept calling, complaining because I would never take her nowhere, never do nothing with her, never let her meet any of my friends. I told her to go find another boyfriend. And so it's like, it was no big deal to me, and she did. She found another one. She kept calling me and telling me how the progress was going. Finally, after about a couple of weeks, she said she broke it up with him for whatever reason, and then she eventually started calling me all the time.
When did you stop seeing her?
As of this year of May, Mother's Day weekend.
And when did you start getting these bills?
I was getting these bills probably 6 months after the incident had happened. You know, she said she was going to take care of it because her son had done some damage to my fence back in June. She took care of that immediately. She said she'd take care of these medical bills as well because
When did she tell you she was going to take care of the medical bills?
Pillow talk. It was when we were, you know.
And you believed her?
Oh, yeah. I had no doubt to.
Okay. How old are you, Wendell?
I'm 15.
Who was this girl that you supposedly gave a hickey to?
Emily.
Is Emily your girlfriend?
No.
Did you give her a hickey?
Yes.
So why were you angry at Mr. Radcliffe for telling people that you gave Emily a hickey?
Because he was spreading rumors around the trailer court, and I had
Spreading rumors about what?
About me giving her hickeys and a bunch of other stuff.
Well, it wasn't a rumor about you giving her a hickey. According to you, you gave Emily a hickey.
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay, so why did you call him that day? Were you just angry?
Yeah, I was mad that he was spreading my family business around the trailer court.
Okay, so when you called him, his son answered the phone?
Yes.
And what did you say to his son?
I asked to talk to his dad.
What did you say to him?
I was like, "Jeff, why are you spreading rumors around?"
And what did he say to you?
He's like, "What in the F are you talking about?"
And what did you say to him?
I was like, about me and Emily. And he was like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." So he hung up with me. So I went back to my mom's house, and I asked her why she told him, because it was supposed to stay between me, Emily, and Emily's stepdad.
Because Emily's stepfather was angry with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went home and you confronted your mother?
Yes.
And you were angry with your mother for telling him
Yes.
thing. And then did you call Mr. Radcliffe back?
He called me back.
While you were confronting your mother?
Yes.
And when you were confronting your mother, were you raising your voice?
No.
No. Did your mother admit to you that she had shared your secret with Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
And you told her she had no business doing that?
Yes.
See how we get into the story?
Did very good.
It's a whole different story than she wrote in her answer, but at least we're going to get to the bottom of it. You got to start with the most vulnerable one.
That's right.
Right? You got to start with the one who's not quite swift enough to tell you a lie. Now, when Mr. Radcliffe came over to the house, were you still arguing with your mother?
No.
What happened when he came into the house?
He came up, banged on the door. The door came off the latch. He just came in, and then he came up, got in my face, and I asked him what was going on.
He got in your face?
Yes.
And what did he say when he got in your face, Wendell?
You effing little punk.
Well, he must have been angry because you must have said something to him, Wendell, like you were going to come over and kick his and get your friends to come over because he was spreading these rumors about you and Emily's hickey. Did you threaten him?
No.
You mean you just said why? You just said like this.
I said
What?
it in a rude voice, yes.
In a rude voice?
In a rude voice, yeah.
And did you have the same kind of rude voice when you were talking to your mother?
No.
You mean you went over to her and you were very, very calm when you say, why did you share private information
Yes.
with
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Radcliffe? You said it quietly.
Not quietly, but in a normal voice.
Now, did you have any injuries as a result of this altercation with Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes, my back was killing me.
Your back was killing you.
Yeah.
When did it stop killing you?
Oh, a couple days after.
Now, your sister, at one point, came into the room when you were having this altercation with Mr. Radcliffe.
Yes.
Your sister's name is?
Jessica.
And how old is Jessica?
She's 19.
And Jessica took you out of the room?
Yeah.
Right. She said, calm down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Shooting fish in a barrel.
Oh, you're good. You are good.
Can I see your medical bills, please? Now, Mrs. Hicks, did you ever tell Mr. Radcliffe that you would pay his medical bills?
No, ma'am. The only injuries he got was a couple rug burns. When he come up to my door and was banging on my door, he busted my door to pieces. He come in. Me and Wendell was standing in the kitchen talking. He got in his face. Wendell goes, Jeff, can you back up? And Jeff took his hands like this, went boom into the side of the cabinet. And Wendell was going like, you know, like this. What are you doing? He just started attacking him. He took him down. He broke my stove. He had him on the floor, punching him in the face.
Miss Hicks, listen to me very carefully. What you're telling me is that Mr. Radcliffe assaulted your son for no reason.
They got into
Shh. Is that right?
Yes.
And I have a question for you. After July 8th, 2003, did you ever sleep with Mr. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Even though he assaulted your son without provocation. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was 3 days after the incident.
So 3 days after, it wasn't even 6 months later, it was 3 days after the incident that you, the mother of this assaulted child who had terrible backache from being assaulted without provocation from Mr. Radcliffe, went to bed with him.
Yes.
Mr. Radcliffe, this is your problem, sir. I believe what you told me with regard to how this incident happened. Not everything. I think that you probably busted the door a little bit. I'm not sure whether Wendell opened the door calmly and said, why don't you come on in? I'm not sure about all those things. What I don't believe is that she agreed to pay your medical bills. And we know, I gather from these papers, that there is currently an action pending against you for stalking Miss Hicks. Now, I'm not getting into that, but according to Miss Hicks, you did not file this claim for your medical bills until a couple of days after she either filed and or served you with this stalking complaint, which is well over a year later, a year after the incident. So the issue that I have to resolve is whether she put you in harm's way or you put yourself in harm's way when you went over to her house. And there were several things that you could have done on the 8th of July. One of them is if you actually believed that Miss Hicks was in danger, you should have called the police.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
There's no question that the computer was broken.
We don't know that.
Well, I know that. I mean, did she have a vendetta against you?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jeff Radcliffe says his ex-girlfriend Kim Hicks and her son, 15-year-old Wendell Hicks, promised to pay his medical bills after he had a fist fight with Wendell.
Now, you were angry because Wendell over here opened up his big fresh mouth to you, and you went over there. And this altercation occurred because of that, because if you were genuinely concerned with Miss Hicks, you would have called 911 and said, get a squad car over there as soon as possible. Her son's beating her up. So you were annoyed with Wendell, and you went over there to confront him. And if you got hurt, that's the way it goes. Case is dismissed. That's all. Shows your counterclaim.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He broke my door down. He assaulted my child.
He has no respect for no one, let alone himself.
She showed my dad, myself, and my brother all bruises that she's gotten from all of her kids before.
I have never had any bruises on my body.
He's a bully of the neighborhood. He wants to pick on anybody and everybody.
They can think what they want to think. I know the truth.
The only reason why she filed this stalking order is because I've got a new girlfriend.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of LeManc versus Minor. Step forward.
23-year-old Gerald LeManc is suing fellow partygoer Daryl Minor for knocking over his laptop computer during a party. Gerald says Daryl had been drinking all day.
Mr. LeManc?
Yes.
You attended a 30th anniversary party at the home of the defendant?
No, it was at the home of a friend of mine.
Defendant was a guest.
Yes.
And you brought your computer with you in order to play music.
Correct.
And it is your claim that Mr. Minor damaged your computer.
Correct.
Mr. Minor says that you balanced this computer in a very precarious way, that he did bump into it, but nothing happened to it, and you shouldn't have brought it anyway. Right, so far?
Right, so far, yes.
Good. When was this party?
August 21st.
Now, what prompted you to bring your computer?
I brought the computer for musical entertainment.
Didn't they have a radio?
We did have a radio on top of 2 speakers, along with the computer.
Okay, so you had 2 big speakers. How tall were the speakers?
About 3 or 4 feet tall. I have pictures.
I'd like to see pictures.
I have pictures of where the computer was and that it was balanced on the speakers.
Oh, I see where it is. I see it's balanced on one of the speakers.
And the ground there was quite level, and the speakers were level.
I see where it's balanced on one of the speakers.
With room to spare. There's room around the whole computer.
It's balanced on one of the speakers. Okay, now who saw Mr. Minor damage the computer? Okay, step up. Who are you?
My name's Raylene Luby, and I'm his cousin.
Whose cousin?
Daryl, Mr. Minor.
Okay, go ahead.
There was a tent there, and so I went outside the tent by the computer and where the beer was, and I was getting a beer, and he came around the corner, and he said, "What are you doing?" And then all of a sudden, he fell forward onto his knees, and the thing slammed shut. The speaker moved. He straightened the speaker back up, stood back up. I walked around. I said, "Jerry, you better go look at your computer." Daryl fell on it.
When he fell on it, it was during the afternoon?
No, it was nighttime.
Had you spoken to Mr. Minor earlier that evening?
Yeah.
Was he fine?
Well, he was drunk.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. He was drunk?
Sure.
What do you mean, sure? I mean, you don't necessarily go to a party and get drunk. What?
He was quite drunk.
So when he fell on the computer, he was drunk?
Sure, yes.
Okay. Go.
Your Honor, when I got there, it started at 3 o'clock. My wife and I showed up. They were playing Irish music. Party went on.
Can we get to the computer, Mr. Minor? Do you remember falling?
I remember hitting the speaker. I was going for a beer. There was a space maybe about 2 foot to get in there. The way the speaker was set up, it was set up so you had to go around it a little bit, which I did.
Did you have too much to drink, Mr. Minor? Your cousin says you did.
Well, they had Jello shots there.
Did you have too much to drink?
Did I have too much to drink? No. I was walking. I didn't have that much to drink.
I have 2 pictures there, Your Honor, with him with a beer cup in his hand, and he was drinking all day long.
Well, I assume that he was.
It's an anniversary party for my cousins.
Okay.
I live around the corner.
So what happened to the computer? Is that what it looks like now?
Yes. The computer was damaged, the screen from here to here, and in between in the middle. And it's shattered.
What do you want to say? First, who are you?
I'm his wife.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that he wasn't the only one that was drunk. Everybody at the party was drunk. That's why I left early. I do not drink, and it's no fun being with a bunch of people who are drinking.
I'm with you.
So I left. So he was not the only one drunk, and he was not the only one who probably bumped into that speaker.
Well, that you don't know. All you know is that that's his cousin. Right. She said the computer was working on top of the speaker. He was drunk, and he fell over, and he knocked it over, and that's what happened.
Right, that's what she says, because she was drunk too.
That may be. However, there's no question that the computer was broken, right?
We don't know that.
Well,
it's broken now.
Well, I know that. I mean, did she have a vendetta against you? Listen, Mr. Minor, when you drink, and sometimes you don't remember what happens because you drink too much, sometimes it turns out okay, and sometimes it doesn't turn out okay. In this case, it did not turn out okay. He's allowed to bring his computer to the party. He's allowed to place it someplace, and if you weren't intoxicated, then I would say, well, it's an accident. You fell over, and that's what happens. But when you allow yourself to become inebriated to the extent where you're not steady on your feet and damage occurs, you're responsible, sir. There's no question you're responsible. Then there may have been a lot of other people who were drinking, and there may have been a lot of other people who could have fallen over, but they didn't. You did. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $757. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If he would have stepped up like a man in the first place and paid for it, we wouldn't have had to worry about all this.
It's a party. They got Jello shots there. They had everything there, you know, vodka and watermelon and brownies, you know, it's good, that good kind of stuff.
When I called him about it a week later, he had forgotten all about it and denied being at the party.
8 hours of drinking, you know what I mean? Everybody was drinking all day long, and it's 8 hours of drinking, things happen.
I really don't care if I ever see him again.
You were in an automobile accident and your car was totaled.
It was not my fault.
The victim of an elaborate scam?
I kept trying to contact her. Then I got a call from somebody telling me that she had died.
She got into the accident with my sister. We look alike.
I remember who the person I saw, Your Honor.
It wasn't me.
See the evidence that even surprised Judge Judy.
I do have a witness.
Who is it?
It's her sister.
Judge Judy.
Okay, so you tried to contact her.
Yes, ma'am.
You couldn't. You got a call from some lady that said that the person who you were trying to reach was dead.
Yes, that's correct.
And what brought you to the defendant?
Well, I gave up thinking I had no other place to go, and then about 3 months ago, I got an actual call from Starwishy Eddington. She had got notification from the California DMV about the accident.
She had gotten what?
Notification that her license was going to be suspended, because I had reported the accident to the state like I was supposed to. And she eventually got my information to contact me. And she told me that, you know, it was not her, that she even had a letter from her sister saying that the vehicle was hers, that she was not involved in the accident. She wanted to meet with me to see, for me to see for myself that it was not her, which we did do that. I could see from the moment I saw her that she was not the person I got into the accident with. She also produced a picture with 3 girls in it, and I happened to point out the person I had the accident with, and she told me it was Shatara. So at that point...
Okay, I'll hear you.
Okay.
The only thing I have to say is that it was my sister. It was my car. I let my sister use it. She got into the accident with my sister, and the only thing that I can think of her blaming it on me is because she needs her license for her job.
Can you think of any reason why Miss Evans would identify you as the person she had the accident with?
I don't know. I look just like my sister. I wish I would have brought a picture. We look alike, a lot alike.
You look very much alike?
Very much alike,
So
with
it
the
would
same
be
height
easy,
and everything.
So it would be easy to confuse the two of you.
It is. We're the same height, same hair color, same complexion. We're the same.
Are you the same age?
She is 2 years older than me.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I do have additional evidence, and I do have a witness I'd like to produce if I can.
I'll be happy to hear the witness and see the evidence.
Okay.
Who is it?
It's her sister.
Ooh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I think that they're both scammers.
But I remember who the person I saw, Your Honor. I was ticked off. You know, I was getting jacked around.
You still are. We're going to try to undo it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cindy Evans says her car was hit by fellow motorist Shatara Zachary. Shatara claims She's being framed by one of her sisters.
This way.
Excuse me.
There's a family resemblance, but you don't look exactly alike. What's your name?
Starwishi Eddington.
Would you have the witness please write down her name? Where do you live, Miss Eddington?
Van Nuys.
What's your address?
153
Who
apartment.
lives at Hill?
Her mom.
My mother.
Your mother. Could you write your name, please?
Yes.
And I want you to write Hill. Thank you. Can I have that back, please? How many sisters do you have?
2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, because I was, 3.
Hmm?
3. 3 biological sisters.
What are their names?
Keisha.
Keisha what?
Keisha Nicole.
Go ahead.
Antoinette and Shatara Zachary.
You're the only Eddington, is that right?
I'm a Zachary too, but I got married, so yeah, I'm the only Eddington, yes.
Very interesting. You have a letter, allegedly from the defendant, indicating that she was the driver of that car?
She didn't write in the letter she was the driver. She wrote that she owned the car.
It was my car. I did what she asked me to do.
Let me see the letter. You know what I find interesting? Neither one of you can spell the word Eddington as it was written for the plaintiff. The person who you were in an accident with.
Yes, ma'am.
Spelled their last name, E-D-D-I-N-G-T-O-N.
I'm aware of that, yes.
This lady spelled it E-D-I-N-G-T-O-N. 1 D.
Yes, ma'am.
This lady spelled her name the same way, E-D-I-N-G-T-O-N. That's very peculiar, wouldn't you say?
I don't know. It could be that she might want to throw me off because I used everything I can find to locate her, and I even called directory assistance. I gave them the spelling of her name, and I came up empty.
This says, I'm not responsible for the accident because my sister, Starwishi Eddington, was not driving, and I was not driving.
That's what she asked me to write. Verbatim.
You want to know something, Miss Evans? I don't think either one of these ladies was driving your car.
Can I say something?
I think that they're both scammers. I do. I think that they know who was driving that car, but it wasn't either one of them.
I have one more piece of evidence.
Maybe I'm wrong. Show me.
It's a picture. It's a picture that Starwishi showed me, and I pointed out the driver, and she told me it was her sister.
That
and she
picture
didn't
is
even
like
tell me.
5 years old.
But I know, I remember who the person I saw, Your Honor.
I'll take a look at the picture.
Judge, I have no reason to lie. I will be willing to take a lie detector test if I have to pay.
About what?
I mean, the whole situation, because I was not driving.
Oh, I believe that you weren't driving the car. Miss Eddington, the person who wrote this, I don't think was you. And the person who wrote this, I don't think was her.
Can I say one thing about
Sure.
that? That could have been her mother that wrote that down because
Yeah.
she was there too at the time. I didn't actually see her write it.
Of course you didn't see it.
Oh, you got a problem. Who's this?
Me.
How long ago?
We were probably about 6 years ago.
You have a picture of your other sisters?
In my purse.
I'd like to see them.
Okay.
Go. Thank you. Hurry back.
May I say something while we're waiting, Your Honor?
Yes.
All I know is that I got into this accident. This person calls me 2 months ago telling me that she's not the person that I thought she was. I mean, as far as I know, I'm talking to a ghost, okay? I mean, I was in shock, because it was over and done with. I met with this person. She showed me the picture. I pointed out the person, and she told me who it was. I know I have not seen this person since the accident or since we walked into this courtroom, but I was ticked off. You know, I was getting jacked around.
You still are. We're going to try to undo it.
Oh, okay.
Now, what was the address of the place where you had this accident? Do you remember where it was?
12 Boulevard. It was right in front of the complex.
And that's where your mother lives, is that right?
Yes.
Now, I want you to tell me who else lives with your mother.
My sister.
Your sister who?
You want to know her name?
No, I want to know her foot size.
Well, she wears a size 9, and her name is Jatisha. My little sister, my little brother, and my mom. I don't live there.
But you did own the Ford that was involved in
Yes.
the accident, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And who was driving the car on May 14th, 2003? Look at me. Who was driving the car?
Her.
How did she get the car?
I'll let her use it.
Good. Tell me the surrounding circumstances surrounding you letting her use your car.
She asked, and I said,
What
yeah.
date did she ask if she could use the car? On that same day?
I guess so. I
No,
mean,
don't, listen,
I don't know.
Listen
I
to
don't
me.
know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know what date it was. That was so long ago. I don't know.
Well, try to think. When did you find out that the car had been in an accident?
When Cindy served me with papers. There wasn't
And then,
any
just a
dents
second.
in my car.
Joe, listen to me. May 14th, at your mother's house, your sister was using your car, right?
Right.
Okay. And your car was involved in an accident.
Right.
So that your sister says that you borrowed the car, right? Listen to me. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was either you who were driving the car or your sister who was driving the car. Is that right?
It wasn't
Speak
me.
up!
Yes.
Yes, either you or your sister who was driving the car, correct?
It wasn't me.
It was either you or your sister who was driving the car.
It wasn't me.
Good. But you are the owner of the car.
Yeah, well...
You're it. The tail is on you, madam. When you own the car, you... When you own the car, try to look intelligent. When you own the car, you are responsible for whoever is driving the car if they're in an accident. You are the owner. You are responsible. You have to demonstrate to a judge at some time in the future that it was not your fault because someone was driving the car without your permission. That person perhaps stole the car. But if what you're telling me is that you loaned your sister the car and let her drive the car and you are the registered owner of that car.
No, I'm not.
It's you. Well, that's what is right here.
I'm not the registered owner.
Well, who is the registered owner?
The person who I got it from, I guess. I mean, it never was registered in my name.
Someone is scamming Miss Evans, and I don't know who it is. And maybe it's somebody by the name of Eddington, and maybe it's one other of these charming, beautiful sisters that are depicted in here. I don't know who it is. All I know is, put your hand down. All I know is that I have a document signed by you because I've checked the signature that you are the owner of the 1988 Ford car that was involved in an accident. You are therefore responsible for the damages to Miss Evans' car.
Well,
You may try to implicate somebody else. You may implead, if you wish, someone else when you sue your sister, who you say was driving the car. You may, in fact, sue the actual owner of the car if you wish to name the actual owner of the car. Until you do, the tail is pinned on you.
That's
How
fine.
much was the car damaged?
It was totaled, Your Honor. But
The
I've
amount?
got an estimate here for $2,217.37. That's just for the damages alone to the car. That doesn't mean for the total loss.
Listen.
You're scamming me, Miss Evans.
I don't think
Yes,
so.
you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Miss
Both
Evans,
of you
yes, ma'am.
guys are
What do you do
scamming
for a living?
I'm a part-time remote regulatory document processor for a trans-management company.
The interesting thing is, I don't know whether the police would remember the person who was involved in this accident and who actually they interviewed when they came to the scene. It would be interesting to me. But I certainly think that the person who gave false information should be prosecuted and spend a couple of weeks in jail.
I agree.
Because that's what happens when you file a false document and you make somebody spend a year and a great deal of time trying to get a certain amount of justice. You'll get that here. Judgment for the plaintiff against this defendant to the amount of $2,200. You can go sue whoever you like.
No, that's
fine.
all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Stay here.
I don't even know whose fault the accident was, really. You know, I don't know if this lady deserves anything.
The first thing that came out of her mouth was it was my fault.
They're scamming me. They've been talking. They've been changing numbers.
I don't need to scam anybody, and I'm not desperate.
This lady, as far as I'm concerned, is like desperate from the looks of things.
She does look a lot different. She has kind of like plumped out a little bit more.
We don't have a relationship. That's why if we had a relationship, she wouldn't be here.
Husband had sexually abused a cousin of hers.
Did the assault justify a revenge?
He came to the door. He knew what we were there for.
What did you go there for?
To confront him.
That's what the police are for.
My husband was beat up.
She damaged your home and assaulted you.
Jennifer came at me with a rusty rake and shoved it in my stomach.
Judge Judy.
He had no right to terrorize her and the daughter.
They were not touched.
I said terror. Damaged the house, nor did she assault you. How do you know each other?
My husband and her boyfriend are childhood friends.
When did this sexual assault allegedly take place, Miss Morgan?
In July of 2003.
Where did it allegedly take place?
At my house.
And what was Miss Clark's husband doing at your house?
He was originally at the bar with my ex. She came into the bar, took his keys from him because he was there. He called my house, didn't have anywhere to go. So my ex went and picked him up and let him come spend the night at our house because they were fighting.
And how old is this cousin of yours who is
13.
Now, I gather that that case has been resolved. Is that right?
He's in jail for it now.
And he pled guilty to assault.
Sexual assault.
Sexual assault? Mm-hmm. How long is your husband incarcerated?
He's incarcerated for another year.
How long has he been incarcerated?
A year.
I don't know how that...
Do you have a different...
Yes.
Go ahead.
He took the plea bargain. They gave him, I forget how many years it was, but he has to stay in jail for 10 years because part of his plea bargain was to waive his right to all appeals and modifications.
And this happened July what?
I believe it was around the 26th.
So on the 26th, you were advised by your 13-year-old cousin that this assault had taken place?
Yes.
Who went over to the plaintiff's house?
Me, my sister, her husband, and my ex.
Why did you go over there?
Because we were mad.
That the way you respond?
No, we didn't go over there to do anything to her. In fact, when we arrived to the house, I am the one who knocked on the door, and I asked for her because I felt sorry for her. I really did. I mean, how can you tell somebody your husband just raped my 13-year-old cousin? She came to the door, then he came to the door. When he came to the door, he stepped outside. He was a nervous wreck. He was like this. He knew what we were there for. As soon as he steps outside, my sister's husband went after him. They fought on the sidewalk. She comes outside.
Just a second. That is a mistake. You understand that. That was the wrong thing to happen.
Right, I know that, but I didn't do it. I didn't.
Miss Morgan, listen to me. What did you go there for?
To confront him for my 13-year-old cousin.
All right, Miss Clark, let me hear you. What happened when she arrived there?
When her and her family members arrived, they were beating down the door. My daughter here and my husband were on their way down the steps to find out what the heck was going on because it was throughout the neighborhood you could hear them screaming obscenities and everything. Just as Brandy went to open the door, it came open. I mean, they just piled in. In the process of Dion being behind Brandy, she got hurt the worst. They were dragging him out of the house and throwing him everywhere, beating and punching him. And when I came out the house, Jennifer came at me with a broken, rusty rake. And she went and shoved it in my stomach, and I fell against steps, and Brandy went after her, and another girl went after her. And
you are amazing.
It was
no way. Miss Morgan, say nothing until it's your turn. Do you understand? Look at me. Mm-hmm. Do you understand?
Yes.
Go ahead. We were just outnumbered. We just had to just go in the house. My other daughter called the police because it was horrible. It was like a rumble, tumble, everything. And they were.
You have any photographs of your house?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see them, please. Tell me about your injuries.
Well, I didn't really have too many injuries because I just fell into the steps, but my husband was really beat up.
Well, I'm not here to discuss your husband. And while I absolutely abhor what happened that day, and I'm not talking about the night before, I'm talking about that day and Miss Morgan and her family and friends coming to your house, which I think is wholly inappropriate. Uncross your hands. Your husband's injuries are your husband's injuries. My question to you, Miss Clark, is it is clear to me that Miss Morgan was not alone. This young lady was with her, according to her, as well as 2 other men. Why didn't you sue them?
I didn't even know who they were, and that lady right there wasn't present.
I wasn't present?
No, she wasn't present.
Okay.
Step up. You were there?
Yeah.
Good. What's your name?
Sarah Weiser.
When you grow up, your top is going to fit your pants so that it all comes together. When you come to court, we don't do that. You're supposed to come to court looking like you're coming to court. You were there that day? Mm-hmm. Is not an answer.
Yes.
That's better. What did you go there for?
To confront her husband.
Why? That's what the police are for.
Because he raped our 13-year-old cousin.
That's what the police are for.
And we called the police.
Before you went over or after? It's not an answer.
Same time.
What do you mean the same time? What does that mean, the same time?
We called her mother called the police while we were in pursuit to her house.
What do you do what do you do for a living? I'm speaking. What do you do for a living?
Home daycare.
You do what?
Daycare.
For children?
Yes. I have 4 children.
How old are you?
28.
28, 4 children. Do your 4 children all have the same father?
No.
How many different fathers do your 4 children have?
2.
Do any of them live with you?
Any of my children's fathers?
Yes.
Yes.
Which ones?
The one that came to her house.
I thought you said he was your ex.
He is my ex, but we still live together.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had no right to terrorize her, and you had no right to terrorize her daughter.
They were not touched.
I said terrorize, you idiot!
And later today,
the dog was not outside. Immediately I said to my son, we need to go to the dog shelter. A woman walked out and she said, I am so sorry to tell you this, but at the same time that you walked in, we were euthanizing your animal.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ramona Clark says family acquaintance Jennifer Morgan owes for damage to her home and for an assault. Jennifer says Ramona's husband sexually assaulted her 13-year-old cousin.
Let me explain something to you, Miss Morgan. You had absolutely no right, either with or without Miss Bad Midriff over here, to go to her house that day with either alone or with anybody else. You had no right to terrorize her, and you had no right to terrorize her daughter.
They were not touched. They were not touched.
I said terrorize, you idiot!
This originally started as a criminal case. She filed charges against me. The state dropped them.
Let me tell you something, madam. The state where you reside may decide that whatever actions you did that day were motivated by female testosterone that was running in your blood and by the testosterone of the two idiot males that you were with. But in this country, we don't do what you did. Because according to what you told me when you started, this lady came to a bar where her husband was. He was drunk. She took the car keys away so that he wouldn't drive, so that he couldn't hurt himself or hurt somebody else. So she doesn't sound like she is a lunatic. It sounds like she was trying to do the responsible thing. Your ex, genius that he is, said, come and sleep in my house. So brought him back to the house, and somebody wasn't minding the store at your house. Because if you have a drunk man staying in your house, it seems to me you watch him very, very carefully. You certainly don't respond to that kind of action, the kind of action that he committed, by going to his house and terrorizing his family. Idiot. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. That's all. Out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's a shame that the vicious nature of some people can destroy the lives of others.
I hope it gave her a reason to really want to stick by her husband, who's in jail for 10 years.
There was no DNA evidence.
It was 1 in 500 quintillion that it was him.
It's crazy. All kind of stuff going through my head, wondering if the accusations are true.
It was up to us to bust it for what he did, and that's what we did.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Allen versus Caldwell. Step forward, please.
Nurse Karen Allen is suing her former pet sitter, 21-year-old ER clerk Tiffany Caldwell, for rent and for the cost of a Welsh Corgi. Karen says while she was away, her dog was euthanized.
Miss Allen, according to your complaint, you hired Miss Caldwell to house and dog sit for you. You were going to be gone for several months, and you had to leave your dog at home. The arrangement was that she would stay in your house for how many months?
It was going to be from March of 2004 until August of 2004.
Unfortunately, when you came home in August, you found that your dog had been euthanized.
Yes, ma'am.
And your house trashed.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want Miss Caldwell to now pay you for rent and for your dog.
Yes,
I don't know how you set a price on that. What kind of dog did you have?
I had an AKC registered Pembroke Welsh Corgi.
How long had you had the dog?
Approximately about a year and a half.
Boy or a girl?
A male.
Where is your home?
In Knoxville, Tennessee.
And where were you going for 5 months?
I was going to work as a travel nurse in Newark, New Jersey.
Is this your son?
Yes, ma'am.
He was going with you?
No, he stayed with his father during the 5 months.
And where does his father live?
In Morristown, Tennessee, about 40 miles away from Knoxville.
How did you find Miss Caldwell?
A common friend of ours that we both share suggested her, said that she was looking for something, and she worked for the same hospital system I worked at in Knoxville, and it's a very choosy hospital system, so I felt that, you know, they've checked her out, and they've checked me out, so we should probably be a pretty good fit. We met and talked, and she agreed to watch my dog and live in the house while I was gone.
Is that correct so far, Miss Caldwell?
Yes, ma'am.
So she moved into the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you check on the house and the defendant during the 5 months that she was there?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I was home 2 or 3 times to take Matthew to hockey events. I would fly in for the weekend, stop by the house, check on the dog. Everything seemed fine. And I would call her frequently. So it was phone tag sometimes, but I would always get a message back, everything was fine. In July, I did call to check on my dog, and she told me that mosquitoes were bad in the area and that he had a few mosquito bites, but he was fine.
You remember that conversation in July?
Actually, it was flies, and she said that it had happened yearly, that his ears would get irritated from where the flies would bother him when he would stay outside.
Why was he staying outside?
The agreement between her and I was, since I worked at the time 10-hour shifts, and she had worked 12 when she lived there, that the dog would, of course, stay outside because couldn't leave him inside that long. And there was a lead that he was attached to. He had a house, he had food, he had water. When I was home, he was in the house with me. When I was at work, he was out in the yard.
When would you leave for work?
It differed. Sometimes I'd work morning shift, sometimes I'd work graveyard shift, evening shift.
You mean when you worked the night shift, you would leave the dog outside all night?
Yeah, that's when he would stay outside nightly.
Was that your agreement with her?
He was not supposed to be outside all night. He was crate trained. He had a nice large roomy crate in the house, and a lot of times, even when I was at work, if I felt the weather was not acceptable and it wouldn't be good for him to be outside, he wouldn't go outside.
Were you sleeping at the house every night?
For the first month or so that I had moved in, I did, and then I got a phone call from Karen telling me that the landlord had told her that he wasn't happy with the fact that someone else was staying there, because I had occasionally had a friend that I worked with stay with me, and he apparently wasn't happy about any of the situation.
Well, he wasn't unhappy with you staying in the house, just with the friend.
Well, the conversation was it was a general, he wasn't happy about any of the situation. He didn't like it. He apparently wasn't happy with Karen being away and somebody else being in the house at all.
Miss Caldwell.
Karen Allen says her former pet sitter, Tiffany Caldwell, owes for trashing her house and causing her Welsh Corgi to be euthanized.
The boy that you had staying at the house, was this your boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
I made it very specific that I didn't want any strangers in my house, Your Honor.
Right. Don't give me baloney. Did the landlord complain to you that there was this guy in the house?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
And did you tell her that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So you told her not to have the guy in the house?
Correct.
Right. That's different than you not staying in the house. That just says, tell your boyfriend not to stay there. There's a difference, Miss Caldwell. So if she told you the boyfriend couldn't stay there, you decided to stay at his place? Is not an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you did?
Sometimes.
Okay. So when you stayed there sometimes, that means that you went to work. And when you say you went to work, you left the dog outside. And then when you went to your boyfriend's house, where did you leave the dog?
The dog would stay out.
So that the dog would be out sometimes for 24 hours at a time?
Sometimes, yes, ma'am.
That's irresponsible, Miss Caldwell. Very irresponsible. When you make an arrangement with somebody and you find yourself a boyfriend, then you call her up and you say, listen, I can't keep that part of the bargain because I now have a boyfriend. And it's very important that I sleep with him. Because if I don't sleep with him, I'll die. So you're going to have to find somebody else to take care of the dog. You don't just disregard your responsibility and allow the dog to stay outside for 24 hours at a time. We understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
You think I'm right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think you did the wrong thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, because that's not what your answer says. I read your answer and you said she told me I couldn't stay there. I said, gee, that doesn't make sense. Here's the woman who hires you to stay in her house. Why would she tell you you couldn't stay there? She didn't tell you you couldn't stay there. She said your boyfriend couldn't stay there. When you got home in August, what did you find, Miss Allen?
We arrived home on August the 13th, Matthew and I. We drove into our driveway, and the dog was not outside. It was a very hot day, and so I thought, well, maybe she had placed the dog inside. But somehow I had this sinking feeling that moms have in their stomach. We got into the house, called for the dog. There was no dog. There was a horrible stench in the house where garbage had been piled up, dirty dishes with water that had like 1/4 of an inch of mold on the top layer of the water. Immediately I said to my son Matthew, I said, we need to go to the dog shelter. We got in the car and went to the shelter, which is 1 mile from my home, and walked in and asked if anybody had turned in a Welsh Corgi. A young man had said, we received a Corgi. What kind is it? I told him it was a Pembroke. He asked me if it was tricolored. I told him yes. He says, I think we have your dog. And of course I was ecstatic. We get back into the back. They couldn't find the dog. They asked me to wait in reception. About 10 or 15 minutes later, a woman walked out who was the manager. She was visibly upset, and she said, I am so sorry to tell you this, but at the same time that you walked in, we were euthanizing your animal, we believe. They asked if we wanted to see the body and identify it, and I said yes. I had to know. Matthew preceded me down the hall and went into her office where they had laid the dog. And he started crying, and right away we knew that it was the dog. And my last vision of this animal is him curled up on the floor with his dog.
How did the dog get to the shelter?
I'm not exactly sure. I know on the evening of the 7th, the morning of the 8th, I was working. I got off at around 1:45, 2 a.m. I had went to the house to feed the dog, and of course, I was going to stay there that night. And I pulled into the driveway, but the dog didn't run up to the car. So I looked around and couldn't find him.
So you don't know what happened to the dog. The dog got out somehow.
Right.
And what about the mess that was left in the house?
There was
not an answer.
There was dirty dishes in the house.
Why?
I left because I was upset. The dog wasn't there. I couldn't find him. I couldn't get.
You left the dishes earlier. You left the dishes early. You didn't leave the dishes then. You left the mess in the house before. Why?
There's no excuse.
Where are you living now?
I'm living in an apartment.
And how much rent do you pay?
$360 a month.
$360.
Yes,
times
ma'am.
5. That's $1,800. You had a bartering agreement with her. Your agreement with her was that in exchange for watching the dog and taking care of the house, you could live in her home rent-free. You didn't live up to your end of the agreement. So you have to pay her rent. Right? Sounds right to me. That's $1,800. Now, you can't put a price on your dog, but there has to be some statement to this young lady that you can't take that kind of responsibility and just cast it out the window because she finds herself a boyfriend. Right? I will put a price on it for the purposes of this litigation. The price that I'm putting on it is $2,000. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $3,800. $1,800 for rent and $2,000 because she didn't take care of her responsibility. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We walked in, they said they had him, we were ecstatic, and then to find out that they had just put him down, I mean, right as we walked in the door.
I didn't neglect the dog.
It was my best friend.
I feel really sad about that because I have a dog and I know what it's like.
It was just somebody I could always play with.
I had actually rescued this animal from a neglectful household.
We all learn from mistakes, so I know not to go into a situation like this again.
He was just a joy.
I just don't know what kind of human could do this.
The two of you agreed to buy a car for your son.
At odds over a car.
Barbara has taken care of your son.
Barbara and I have taken care of our son.
No, listen to me. No.
Let's get it straight.
Shh.
But before this case is over...
Who has custody of your son?
I do.
Barbara, turn around.
Barbara.
Is someone gonna lose it?
Barbara. 1, 2.
Judge Judy.
292 on the calendar, the matter of Evans Cunningham versus Evans. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Cunningham, Mr. Evans was your husband.
Yes,
And you
ma'am.
have one child?
Yes, ma'am.
A boy who is in high school now.
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim that a couple of years ago, the two of you agreed that if your son got straight A's or good grades, that when he was a senior in high school, the two of you would chip in to buy a car.
Yes, ma'am.
You purchased a car for your son, and the defendant did not contribute half the money for the car.
That is correct, ma'am.
Unfortunately, the car that you purchased for your son blew an engine within a relatively short period of time, and you were forced to go out and buy another car for him.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not asking Mr. Evans to pay for that second car, but you want him to pay his half of the first car, which no longer exists. Is that right? That's what you're suing for?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Evans says that you didn't consult him about the car, and he's not paying.
That's correct.
Okay. So, how long have you been divorced?
We've been divorced, ma'am, almost 10 to 11 years. I've known Mr. Evans since I was 16 years old.
Okay. Now, when did you purchase this car for your son? The first one?
The first car, ma'am, was 19 July of this year from my neighbor.
What kind of car was it?
It was a 1990 Honda Accord, ma'am, four-door sedan.
And how much did you pay for the car?
The car cost $1,770.
When did you discuss this purchase with your husband?
Beginning the month of May 2004.
What did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
He stated, that's good, does the body look good on the car, does the car run well? And I stated yes, that my neighbor showed me where he maintained the maintenance on the car periodically. He stated that that's fine, go ahead with the purchase.
Is that right?
No.
Well, tell me what happened when she called you.
She called me and told me that her neighbor was selling the car for $1,500. She said that he was moving or something and that she could get the car. I told her, well, what kind of car is it? Because I haven't seen the car. Can I come check the car out or look at the car? She said that she know her neighbor pretty well because he lives right next door and that he takes good care of his cars and that she figured that it was good because she know him and she didn't think that he would sell her anything that wasn't
in good shape.
Right.
And what did you say to her?
I told her that, okay, then let me look at the car. You know,
well,
so,
you should listen to me, Mr. Evans. Let's not dance around with each other, sir.
Okay.
If things make sense, they make sense. It makes sense that she told you about this car and you said, well, I'd like to take a look at it.
Correct.
That makes sense. And she said, well, I don't think, according to you, I don't think you have to take a look at it. This is my neighbor. I know him very well. I know that he's taken good care of the car. I've seen the records on the car. And then you have to say something else. Either you say to her, well, I still want to take a look at it and I'll call and make an appointment, or you say to her, fine. Now, which is it?
I told her I still wanted to look at the car. I told her, I asked her when was the guy moving and when was the last day that she was going to actually get the car. She didn't actually purchase the car from the guy until the day before he left.
So why didn't you go over there and take a look at it?
He did, ma'am.
Shh.
No,
Just a second. He did?
Yes, ma'am.
When did he go over there, Miss Cunningham?
Ma'am, he did a drive-by of the car in June.
When you say a drive-by?
The car is parked in front of the neighbor's yard, and I shared with him, it was on a Sunday evening, he was picking up our son. I stated that the car is parked in the front yard of my neighbor. When you pick Kelvin up, you can pass by and see the car. He acknowledged that the car was showroom clean, based on the outside of the body.
I never met the neighbor, so I don't...
Just a second. You don't have to meet the neighbor, Mr. Evans.
Well, I'm saying as far as going to his yard and stuff.
Mr. Evans,
yes,
did you ask for the neighbor's name?
No, because...
Just a second. Is there any reason why you didn't ask for the neighbor's name?
Because I asked her to set it up so we could go by and look at it together.
What's wrong with you? She's already looked at the car. If you want to look at the car, Mr. Evans, you have to be proactive.
Asking her to set it up with a neighbor that she already knows is proactive. I just can't go to this man's house and just
No,
say...
it isn't. Listen to me. Baloney. Listen, Mr. Evans. Baloney. I'm sympathetic with you to this. When I read your answer to this extent, you said, well, she bought this car, she didn't ask for my input, and if she bought the car without asking for my input, I'm not paying for half. That's what you said in your answer, right?
That is correct.
And I'm telling you that I was sympathetic with that answer because I think that it's wrong for someone, if in fact it's true, for Miss Cunningham to say, listen, we agreed 2 years ago we were going to buy my son a car. I saw my neighbor's car. I liked the car. I went and bought the car, and then I presented my ex-husband with half the bill. And my ex-husband said to me, I'm not paying for half the bill on this car that you picked out yourself because I didn't have any input. That's what you're saying, and I was sympathetic. But that's not what happened, Mr. Evans. No.
Judge, I never saw the car.
That's your fault. That's your fault. You have two eyes, you have a mouth, you have a finger that can do the walking through the yellow pages and the white pages. I am speaking. I am speaking, sir. Now, certain things make sense, and I've been in this business a long time. What kind of work do you do, sir?
Manage a payday loan store.
And if somebody doesn't give you the money, what do you do?
We try calling them and getting them to come in and
Now, when you try calling them, let's say, put your papers down. Let's say you have their address.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't have a telephone number.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
Mail them a letter.
Did you ever think of calling information to get a telephone number? Have you ever done that, Mr. Evans? You know exactly where I'm going, sir. You get information, you try to get it from information. You take out a phone book, you turn to the white pages and see in the white pages whether there's an address that corresponds with that, or you can do both and mail them a letter.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm saying to you, Mr. Evans, you are a smart man. You're a businessman. If you wanted to take a look at this car, inside and out, all you had to do was be a little proactive.
She never gave me the person's name.
No, she doesn't have to give you. Listen to me. You ask. You did not ask.
Judge, I asked Barbara to let me come by and look at the car.
Had a key. Shh. Don't ask Barbara. Barbara has taken care of your son for the last 11 years.
Barbara and I have taken care of our son.
No, listen to me. No.
Let's get it straight.
Shh.
Barbara and I have taken care of our son.
1, 2. You know what?
Barbara
you know
has
what
not taken care of our son by herself.
Listen
I have always been there for my child,
Just
and
a second.
I don't want her being in court saying that.
I'm speaking. Don't speak over me. Ever.
Yes, ma'am.
Who has primary physical custody of your son?
Kelvin is with Barbara because Kelvin...
Don't tell me because. Who has primary...
I do.
You do. Let me see the papers that give you primary physical custody.
I don't have them with me.
Okay.
When we got a divorce, Judge...
Barbara, turn around.
When we got a divorce years ago, I got custody of... I had primary custody of our son. I had him for the 9 months he was in school. She had him for the summer months. That's in the divorce decree. Okay. After Kelvin stayed with me for the first 4 years... Then with Barbara kept calling and complaining and crying to him, saying how much this and how much that, he asked me and said, Daddy, can I go stay with my mom, son? I said, okay, son, I don't have a problem with that. If that's what you want to do, I'll let you do that. I moved so I can be close to him. Barbara got transferred again to Colorado. I moved out to Colorado so I can still be close to my son. She got transferred to St. Louis. I moved to St. Louis so I can still be close to my one and only son, so I could be there for him to help raise him. So with her coming up in here saying that I have not helped and I have not been there for my son, that is downright ridiculous.
So then I'm asking you, sir, if you did all this moving from one city to another city to another city, with all that entails for moving, so for the last 6 years, he's been living with his mother. You've moved. So for the last 6 years, full-time, she's been the full-time custodial parent, and you've moved so that you could accommodate her work. Whatever that was, you've moved because you thought it was in your child's best interest. You moved, you've changed, you've gotten an apartment, you've got turned on gas, electric, telephone, you've moved, you've transferred registrations on cars, and you're telling me that you couldn't find out the name of the neighbor who lives next door so you could go and look at the car? Mr. Evans, I don't buy it.
Judge, if she had allowed me the opportunity to do that before she moved ahead, then that's what would have happened. But she did not allow me the opportunity. That's just like after the car...
Stop crying.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
The cops told me they allowed her to break in because if you lock yourself out, you're allowed to break in.
Police told her she was allowed to break in to get her stuff? Is that what you just said to me?
The police allow you to break in if you lock yourself out.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
I don't believe this. I don't believe it. There are several reasons why I don't believe it. First of all, I don't know anybody who uses the same pen on a day calendar. In order for you to use the same pen on a day calendar just for certain entries, you have to be a really organized person. You have several different pens for certain things, you have dark blue pen, you have a light blue pen, but for the money that you allege that he gave you, different weeks, different months, etc., you used the same pen. So you had a Mr. Sutton return of money pen?
No, actually, I kept a particular pen by my calendar. And if, for instance, like if I had made an appointment on the phone or something and there was a pen somewhere else in the house, I would take that and write the appointment down. But that, I mean, I have similar pens, it's different, same color.
Give this back to her. Those calendars come under the category of baloney, Miss Guberman. Now you want to get to the cell phone?
Well, we had gotten to our arguments on the way back from the mall.
When?
In October, the 4th.
October of what year?
This year.
2004?
Correct.
So you were still seeing each other, had contact with each other a year later?
Correct.
Okay.
And actually, when we officially broke up, that's when he stopped paying for the cruise, but...
What happened, Miss Guberman, in October
we were on the way back from the mall, and we were going to go to my house, and then we got into an argument at the mall. On the way back, you know, he said, take me home. So I was proceeding to take him home, and then he asked me, oh, well, we're going to your house. I said, no, you want to go home? I'm taking you home. So when he realized I was taking him home, I had to stop at a stop sign, and as soon as I stopped at the stop sign, he grabbed my shifter, threw it in park, got out the car, grabbed the phone, smashed it on the ground, and then walked off and left me with a broken shifter, and I was just standing there until someone came and helped put my shifter back together because I couldn't move.
Let's hear it.
All I can say is just a bunch of Taurus species.
What?
Taurus species.
What is that?
A Taurus is a bull and species is...
Oh. Mr. Sutton. Mr. Sutton.
Yes.
Just tell me what happened, sir. Try not to editorialize or be witty.
Pretty much.
Or, listen to me, or be witty or be smart. I reserve that all to myself.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, man, Your Honor.
Just tell me what happened in the car.
Well, nothing happened because I wasn't with her.
Oh, my God. Were you still involved in any kind of a relationship, including friends, in October of 2004?
No, I wouldn't even talk to her. She was coming down to my job, stalking me, sitting in my parking lot at my job. She would call me, like, pretty much all day on my cell phone, beat my cell phone up, leave all types of messages.
You have any proof of that?
Well, I can't really save that on there, ma'am. Somebody else calls me.
Do you know anything about this case?
Yes, I do.
Step up. Who are you?
I'm Monique Taylor. I'm Lamore's friend of 14 years.
Go ahead.
The night of her cell phone that was broken, he was with her. Because, you know, she doesn't hold anything back from me, and usually when things happen, she calls me because we're close friends. And he was with her that night that the cell phone was broken.
What was she doing with him?
Your Honor,
No, I'm asking you, what would she do? If she tells you wherever she doesn't... Listen to me. If she doesn't hold anything back from you...
Right.
What was she doing with him?
I guess just hanging out with him. You know, they went to the mall together, from my understanding, and, you know, he wanted to go home with her, and he was told no, and
Why did she go to the mall with him?
He's very angry.
Who's angry?
James. He's a very angry individual because there's times other things has happened, and she has called me about it and, you know, talked to me, and I always be telling her to leave him alone, but...
She doesn't leave him alone. Right?
Right.
She calls him?
Occasionally, but not. It's been like since the cell phone incident, it hasn't been too many phone calls.
Before the cell phone incident?
Yes.
She'd call him a lot?
I wouldn't say a lot, because I would, you know, try to convince her not to keep continuously calling him and, you know, just leave it alone.
But she didn't listen?
No, she didn't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I understand that from your perception as a father, your daughter disrespected you.
Right.
I agree with you. Did the wrong thing.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lamore Guberman says she met ex-boyfriend James Sutton on a party chat line. Lamore claims James owes for his share of a cruise and for smashing a cell phone.
So, Mr. Sutton, I sort of believe that you were in the car with her and broke her cell phone. You want to know why I believe that, Mr. Sutton? I believe that you were really annoyed that she keeps bothering you on the phone. There's a logical extension to breaking her phone. Do you understand?
I understand what you're saying, but...
Good. How much was your phone?
Altogether, it was $194.99.
Let me see. But, Mr. Sutton, I do not believe, sir, that you agreed to pay her for this cruise. I think that she met you, she wanted a date on the cruise, she invited you to go along, and there was absolutely no mention of you paying her back. And that was over a year ago. And you still didn't pay her back. And she's still with you, in the car, going to the mall. Right?
Right, that's part of the reason why I would call him, is to ask, can you pay me some money? Are you going to give me some money?
No.
Swear to God.
No. Not for somebody who's violent. You don't call somebody violent for that reason.
Because it was on my credit card. And
You met him in September. You invited him to go on a cruise in September. Mr. Sutton doesn't look like the kind of person who becomes instantly infatuated.
Oh, that's a lie.
Well, maybe yes, maybe no. He certainly seems like a cool enough character to me. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $194.99. That's for the cell phone. The cruise, you're on your own.
Can I say one thing?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Oh my God, I ain't finished. I guess if I get back together with him, he'll pay me the rest of it, then we can break up, you know, something like that.
She's a very sarcastic person. You know, she doesn't know how to take anything serious.
The sparks were kind of fizzling at the end, but he was trying to make the sparks come back.
She just got hypnotized by me. That's all that was.
He was a bad seed once I just knew the things he was doing.
What was done, what was done. I mean, just move on, that's all.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Garnica versus DeLaza, step forward, please.
Deli manager Martha Garnica is suing her ex-husband, produce manager Alan DeLaza, for the money he promised to pay for their daughter's 2000 Ford Mustang. Alan says their daughter disrespected him, so the deal's off.
Ms. Garnica, this is your former husband. You
Yes,
have
it
two
is.
children together.
We do.
You called your former husband and told him that you wanted to buy your daughter, I assume this young lady's, pretty young lady, a car for her birthday, and asked him if he would contribute to the car. So far, is that correct, sir?
Close enough.
Close enough. And your former husband agreed to give you $2,000 towards the purchase of that car, $1,000 from one fund and $1,000 from a different fund. Close enough?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
He gave you the $1,000.
Yes.
The $1,000.
Yes.
In reliance on his promise to give you the $2,000, you went out and purchased your daughter a car.
Yes, I did.
How much was the car?
$5,000.
And you purchased her this $5,000 car because your former husband had agreed, made a contract, so far, right, to give you $2,000. And then, against his wishes, this young lady went ahead and got your permission to have a belly piercing, right?
Kind of.
Right. She had discussed it at one time with her father, who said, I don't want you to do that, right? And you went and did it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is stupid to begin with. Why anybody would want to pierce their belly button, I haven't a clue. Get stuck on your sweaters. I don't know why anybody would want to do that. But that's just an older person's perception of why young people pierce their bodies and say, look at me, look at me, look at me, I'm different. You know, people should look at you because you do things that are creative, intelligent, smart. You've made something of yourself. You know, sticking things in your body doesn't cut it for me. Your father says you got your belly pierced, you don't get the other $1,000.
Right.
Unfortunately, you're wrong. You're not wrong to feel as if your daughter did something that was not right, but your contract was not with your daughter.
Yes, it was.
No. Your contract was not with your daughter, sir. Your contract was with your former wife. You may have been contributing to buy your daughter a gift, which is what you say. I was buying my daughter a gift. She went against my wishes. I'm not going to give her the gift. You made a contract with your wife because once she went out to purchase that car, relying on your promise to give her $2,000, you had a binding agreement. Now, I'm teaching you contracts. I'm giving you a basic course in contracts. If you had said to her when she called you, I will give you the $2,000 towards Amanda's car, but there's a condition. And the condition is she not have a body piercing until she's old enough to consent to it herself. If you had said that to her, and if she had had the body piercing, you would be absolutely right. You would be able to say, she breached the agreement, therefore I don't have to pay. But you did not have that as a condition of your contract with your former wife. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
It's just...
I understand that from your perception as a father, your daughter disrespected you.
Right.
And you don't reward somebody for being disrespectful and for doing the wrong thing. I agree with you. Did the wrong thing. But that doesn't vitiate the contract that you had or do away with the contract that you had with your former wife. Do you understand? So while I'm sympathetic to you, you owe her $1,000. Pay her. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They could have asked me, you know, and I could have thought about it.
I didn't see there was a reason why to discuss. She's a very good kid.
He should have just paid it from the start.
They might get infected, you know, and you never know where that might end up.
Well, he's not very involved with her, so I don't understand why he would even care.
Probably could have decided together as a ex-husband and ex-wife kind of deal.
We're not in speaking terms, and hopefully you'll stay that way.
You have a child together. You had taken a paternity test. There is a 99.85 probability that you are the father of this child.
He says that my son is not his.
What made you think that the child wasn't yours?
The child doesn't look like me.
Does it look like his mother?
Doesn't even look like her.
Judge Judy.
You are frustrated and annoyed.
Right.
Recently, you began to have certain reservations about that because you say he doesn't look like you.
Right.
So you wanted to have another paternity test.
Yes.
According to you, Ms. Maker agreed to take another paternity test. You made the arrangements, and she didn't show up, so you want to be reimbursed for the test. Ms. Maker said, I never agreed to take another paternity test. My son is 9 years old. He doesn't have a relationship with his father. His father is really losing out. She doesn't have to be told twice that you're the child's father. You are his father. That's what the case is about. You want the money back that you put down for the paternity test, for the second test, which is $630. So before we move on, Mr. Bolden, who is this?
That's my girlfriend.
What possible information could she have with regard to this case?
Well, she's just here to back me up, saying that, I mean, I have papers right here saying where she signed to take this paternity test.
So what evidence?
She's just here with me really for support.
That's very stupid on your part to bring her here for no reason. I'm just telling you. It's just, she's just an irritant.
Well, I'm here.
Mr. Bolden, so let's move back. Can I see the results of the first paternity test that you took? The bloods were drawn on both of you on the same date. Were you present together when the bloods were drawn?
Yes.
And the child's blood was taken the same time?
Yes.
And according to this paternity test, sir, there is a 99.85 probability that you are the father of this child.
Your Honor, where we're from, I mean, I've been hearing reports that, I mean, it's been tampering with tests, so I figured I'd take another chance with it. You know what I mean?
Waited 8 years.
Just a second.
8 years.
The defendant, she didn't tell me she was pregnant until she was 8 months along.
You're lying.
No.
Listen to me. I don't want to hear that.
Well, he's telling a lie.
Listen to me. Listen to me, Mr. Bolden. You may, and I assume that you don't have a relationship with this boy. Is that right?
No, he doesn't.
No. That's why I want to get this all out in the open.
Oh, just a second. It's all out in the open, sir. You have an order of affiliation and you have an order of support, and you have a blood test that was done by a laboratory that the courts in your jurisdiction has deemed an appropriate facility for taking and drawing blood. 99.85. I suggest, sir, that you have to move on. You're going to pay support for this boy until he is 18 years old. And if you choose not to have a relationship with him, that's your loss and his loss. Now, when did she agree to take another test?
March the 19th is the day she signed the paper.
Let me see. Tell me about the conversation you had with her.
Well, it was pretty brief. I went to her residence and told her I didn't think the child was mine.
What made you think 8.5 years later, what woke up and, you know, you got this bee in your bonnet 8.5 years later that the child wasn't yours? What happened?
I mean, I always had my doubts.
But what was it 8.5 years later?
I mean, the child doesn't look like me. Not at all.
Does it look like his mother?
Doesn't even look like her.
Just a second. Doesn't look like the mother either.
Sick.
No.
You're being foolish, Mr. Bolden. Okay, so let me just understand. You went over there to her and you said to her, he doesn't look like me. I don't think he's mine. I want to take another blood test?
Right.
And she said, okay.
Yes.
Why would she agree 8.5 years later to take this test?
Maybe she was sure, you know, he was mine.
No. Why would she agree to take the test? That's something that just doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly.
What makes sense to me is that she would be angry with you, that she would feel as if you have shortchanged this boy by not participating in his life for 8.5 years, that while she gets child support from you, she would have preferred a little bit more support in other areas, emotional support with the boy, which you haven't given her. So you want me to believe that you went over there and said, listen, I want to take another blood test, so I not only cut off all emotional support, which I haven't given you, but I'm going to cut off financial support too, if he's not mine. So I want you to sign this piece of paper, and she just went and signed the piece of paper. Is that what you want me to believe?
First we went to the family court. I filed a petition.
Oh, okay. So first you went for the family court, and and what happened?
They denied me. The judge said...
Oh, just a second. So you went to the family court, and you filed a petition that said, I really want another blood test because I don't think he's mine because he doesn't look like me.
Right.
And you brought her to court.
Yes.
When he served you with the papers to go to family court.
And they sent me the notice of when the date was, and it was on March 2nd.
Okay. Were you surprised to get it?
Yes.
Were you annoyed?
Yeah, because I've been getting a lot of papers from him about crazy stuff.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You are frustrated and annoyed with him, right?
Yes.
You picked him. He can't help being stupid. You had a choice.
And later today...
When did this incident happen with your dad?
May 18th. He told me to step outside and ask for the razor. Then he slapped me in the face twice, put the razor to my face, and that's when I jerked away from him and started running.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cardell Bolden claims ex-girlfriend Lisa Maker owes for a DNA test that never happened. Cardell says he arranged the test because Lisa's son looks nothing like him.
Did you sign this piece of paper?
Yes, because when we went to court that morning, and we was leaving out of court, and he says, Lisa, can we get more tests done? I says, no, I'm done with it. I said, I'm not doing anything. Only thing I need from you now is his insurance papers because he do pay medical insurance for him through his job. A couple days later, he comes to the house. Comes in, my son is in there. He never speaks, never says one word to my son, which he does it all the time, because he says that my son is not his. We had the test. I'm like, oh, well, if you want to sit up there and miss out, that's on you. I'm not worried about it. He says, here's the papers. I signed. I said, get out, because it didn't make sense for a grown man to walk in my house, not speak to that child or anything. He left. Lab court calls me.
So what you're telling me is you thought that these papers had to do with your son's medical insurance.
Because my son does not get Medicaid through the state. So when he leaves, lab court calls me. I told the lady, I said, look, I don't have to go take no test. The state says I don't. I ain't going to do it. Goodbye. Don't call my house no more. Hung up.
She knew what those papers were, Your Honor.
Why would I sit there and sign?
There, and we both read through them.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Don't answer. You're always supposed to read what you sign.
But how... I mean, my son is right in the house. This man walks in the house and not even speak to my son.
It's obnoxious. It's obnoxious.
Crazy.
It's obnoxious and stupid.
It is.
It's a product of a stupid mind, an uncaring mind. It's a product of somebody who says that it's the fault of a 9-year-old child to be born.
Yeah.
Why didn't you speak to him?
That's all irrelevant, Your Honor.
Why didn't you speak to him?
I didn't even see. Her son was not present. When I came in.
Right there.
Her cousin was there. Her son was not there.
He was in the house.
Shh. Just a second. Just a second. Have you ever spoken to him?
Yes.
What have you said to him?
hey, how you doing?
I mean, I speak to him.
He doesn't know who his dad is, so he's making my son the same way he is. But it's all going to change.
Why not take the test?
I don't have to take anything.
Goodbye.
I don't have to take.
Listen to me. You're in a court. I don't know where you think you are. So far, you're not losing, but you're irritating me. You are frustrated and annoyed with him, right?
Yes.
You picked him. You picked him to father your child. He can't help being stupid. You had a choice. You picked him. So I would suggest you keep your mouth shut. Right? Good. Your case is dismissed, sir. You don't wish to have a relationship with this child. That's your prerogative. You will support him until he's a majority. That's all.
You got excused. Step out.
My son has a lot of positive men in his life. If he doesn't want to step up to the plate, he ain't got to.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Young versus McIntyre step forward.
19-year-old student Quentin Young is suing his father, truck driver Robert McIntyre, for medical bills due to an assault. Quentin claims his father held a razor to his neck and slapped him twice.
Quentin, this is your dad.
Right.
And it is your complaint that last year he assaulted you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you had some medical bills.
Yes, ma'am.
That he had promised to pay.
Yes, ma'am.
He didn't.
Didn't.
You want him to pay the medical bills.
Right.
His father says that you were acting disrespectfully.
Right.
He slapped you.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's it.
And put a razor to my face after he slapped me.
Just a second.
Okay.
That's what he says.
Okay.
Your parents are divorced?
Yes, ma'am.
How long are they divorced?
Ever since I was 4 and I'm 20 now.
Who's this lady?
My mom.
She remarried?
Yes, ma'am.
Is your father remarried?
Many times, ma'am. No, ma'am.
When did this incident happen with your dad?
May 18th of 2003.
And you were living with your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did it happen?
It happened in the Oak Cliff area in Dallas, Texas, at his friend's house.
What were you doing at his friend's house?
We were supposed to take pictures that day. It was me, my father, my younger brother, and my other younger brother. My brother's right there.
Tell me what happened.
What happened was we went over to his friend's house. He had 4 outfits for all of us, which was me, my brother, my father, and my other little brother. I started to tear off the logo sign of the Dickies.
He was trying to cut it off, man.
Well,
with a razor blade.
I love the arts, and I like to make my own style of clothing. And
he should have bought his own.
Okay, so he bought 4 outfits.
Right, right.
So everybody would be dressed the same way.
Right, yes. But he didn't buy them.
Where did he get them?
Well, my brother later told me that he stole them off his truck.
What kind of truck?
18-wheeler truck. But he stole and he works, you know. So that's what he did.
So you're taking the Dickie label off the pants?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what happened?
He told me to step outside and ask for the razor. Then he slapped me in the face twice and put the razor to my face, and that's when I jerked away from him and started running.
Well, did the razor cut you?
It
either cut you or it didn't.
It didn't cut me.
Okay, put your hand down. So he slapped you twice?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you weren't injured from his slapping you, were you?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Well, tell me about your injury.
Well, I went to the hospital and they said...
Why?
Because I was hurt, Your Honor.
Let me see the hospital report, please.
Okay.
Well, this is just a bill. I want to see the report.
I don't have the report. They're supposed to give them to me. They didn't give them to me in time.
Who took you to the hospital?
My mother drove me.
Step up.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, your son left and he called you, I assume after his father slapped him twice in the face. Where were you when he called you?
I was at home.
And you got in your car and you went and picked him up?
Yes, I did. And his face was swollen, and he had a cut on his face.
Where?
It was right...
I don't see anything about blood here.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like a big gash, but it was a small amount of blood.
I don't, listen to me. I don't see anything about blood here. I don't see anything about stitches here. I don't see anything about anything here. Why did you put your hands on him?
You know, Quentin had this attitude that, you know, he was just getting belligerent, you know, like coming around, you know, like smarting off and all that. The way
what did he say to you?
I asked him what was he doing. He said, you gave him to me, didn't you? So by him being in front of my other kids, let's go outside. You know, I'm not gonna.
Hey.
See what I mean?
Go ahead.
When he goes outside, he like bags up and balls his hands up, and I'm like, Quentin, you know, I grabbed him around the neck. Then he acted like, you know, raised one of his hands up, and that's when I slapped him. Because he's in front of my other kids, and I'm not having it. Where I was raised at, ma'am, respect.
You're absolutely right. You should respect your parents, and your parents shouldn't put their hands on you, especially if you're a grown-up. You don't put your hands on them.
I understand.
It's not a smart thing
I
to do.
understand.
You also don't overreact and take him to the hospital because he got slapped in the face. What?
All right, does it say in the report, of his report, that I balled up my fist to...
I don't care whether you did. I just told him he had no right to hit you.
Okay.
I just told him he had no right to hit you. Shouldn't hit his child, especially a grown-up child.
That's right.
And if you did, you felt as if he disrespected you, and he didn't treat you in a fatherly way, and he didn't respect your art, and he didn't respect your individuality, and he didn't respect all that other thing. That's a lot of bull. He got 4 outfits to take a picture. You didn't like the outfit, suck it up, take the picture, and go home to your mama.
I was feeling the same way.
You understand?
I was feeling the same way, but he
well,
slapped me for it.
Then what'd you go outside and start cutting up the outfit for?
No, I was cutting it up on the inside. And then he stepped...
Your Honor.
Okay, in front of you.
Why didn't you wait until you got home?
That's what I asked.
We were taking pictures that day, Your Honor. So.
Why didn't you wait until you got home?
But why would I...
Your Honor, he's just wanted to show his dad. He's been away for many years.
Don't speak.
He's been away for many years, and my son, I have remarried, and my son just was reaching out. He yearned to be with his dad. I okayed many trips for him to go with him on the U-Haul truck. But when he got with him, he betrayed him by fighting him. He knows that he's in theater. He knows that his aspirations is to get into entertainment business, but he disrespected his own son. I'm okay. He disrespected his own son.
Listen to me. His son disrespected him.
Your Honor, he loves his son. He loves his dad to death.
That's why you're not paying attention. That moment, that day, your son was disrespectful for the moment. And I told his father, he had no right to put his hands on him. He had no right to overreact. And neither does he. He wants to be an actor. Great. It doesn't mean you have to be abnormal.
But he didn't want to disrespect him.
Listen to me.
That's not what he wanted,
Get
Judge.
over it, madam. It's not a big deal in the scheme of things. It's not a big deal to take a picture with your father with an outfit that has a dicky label on it or any label on it. It's not a big deal.
Take away from the picture. The logo is small. It won't take away from the picture.
I got it for him, Your Honor.
Listen to me.
You stole it.
Speak quiet. Speak.
You got it.
Mr. McIntyre, shh. Don't speak. Don't speak.
Yes, ma'am.
All very unfortunate, and it's certainly very unfortunate that you overreacted and took him to a hospital and built up this medical bill that was ridiculous. You should have taken him home and put a cold rag on his head. In any event, I think you both behaved badly that day. I think you did, and I think if you encourage your son to think that he did the right thing, that's a big mistake.
I'm not, Your Honor.
Well, you shouldn't.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, you shouldn't. And if his father hasn't been much of a father to him over the last, I don't know, 20 years, 15 years, whatever it is, you're not going to make up for it in one picture, sir.
Exactly.
There's a lot of history that goes on.
Yes, ma'am.
But one thing that you don't do, especially with a child who you haven't been around and haven't been a father to his whole life, you don't put your hands on him.
Exactly.
You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
So you owe him an apology for that. You owe him an apology for that. That's all. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Y'all excuse me, step out.
He's treated me bad, you know, and blamed it on my mom all my life, but it's really his fault.
The thing is, I have 2 other sons, and I'm in their life. Why wouldn't I be in his life?
God is my father, not him. He never was and never will be.
God is first, and then me. You know, I'm still going to be his father, so he have to label it.
Quentin has a son. He hasn't seen. I just want it resolved. We have love for him. We don't want to be at war with him.
Any problems that he would have with his son, I think that I would be able to, you know, to help him if he needed me. But if he feel like he don't need me, then that's between him and God, not between me and him.
The son.
She did something that was irresponsible.
The mother.
He called, asked if I would help him.
I figured that was the least she could do for me.
the sister.
He's angry with her.
He's always been angry with her. He sent him away.
Do you know why?
Will she reveal what's going on with this family?
Think of any reason why your sister would make up a story like that?
Her son, 24-year-old fireplace installer Michael Schmidt, for a loan to buy a 96 Eagle Talon. Michael says buying him a car is the least she could do.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. This is case number 428 on the calendar in the matter of Fouch versus Schmidt. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Fouch, this young man is your son. How old are you?
24.
According to what I read in your complaint, he was a little bit of trouble growing up, but then according to you, seemed to, in the last couple of years, straightened up.
Right.
Got a job. He was living on his own, taking care of his own bills. When he came to you and asked if he could borrow some money for a car, you decided that since he seemed to be doing the right thing, you would lend him the money.
Right.
When did he call you and ask you if you could lend him some money?
12th of October is when I took out the loan. He called, asked if I would help him.
What did he say?
Mom, my girlfriend's dad came and got the truck I had. I don't have a vehicle to get to work. Would you please help me get a car? For the first time, I said yes, even when my husband said no.
Mom, would you help me get a car? So what did you do?
I told him I would call the bank, get a loan. I went down, picked him up, took him down to the car lot, wrote a check for $2,000.
And?
He took the car, title went in his name, and now he doesn't want to pay the payments. And
Well,
I've been making them.
Talk to me about the payments. So far, I haven't heard anything about him agreeing for the payments.
I told him I would borrow him $2,000. You pay me back at $250 a month for 8 months, and it would be paid.
And what did he say?
I will. He agreed to pay the money
Where was
back.
he working at the time?
He works putting in fireplaces.
You work for a company?
Yes.
You get paid by the week?
Yes.
What do you get paid?
Approximately $400 a week.
Is that what you take home?
Yes.
So it wouldn't have been any trouble to pay back the $250 a month?
It wouldn't have been any trouble if that was the case.
Okay. Is this your girlfriend?
Yes.
Her father had allowed you to use one of his vehicles?
He co-signed for a loan on a pickup, and we split up. And he took the pickup.
Who split up? You?
Me and Kara.
Whose name was the truck in?
Mine and her dad's. He was first signer on the title, so he had the right to take it from me whenever he wanted.
Well, had you been making the payments on it?
Yes.
All the payments?
Yes.
Even after you broke up?
No. Once he took the truck from me, I quit making payments.
But before that, you were making the payments?
Yes.
Are you back together again with the girlfriend?
Yes.
What about the truck?
I still don't have it.
Do you talk to the father?
No.
Do you talk to your father?
Yes.
Why did he take the truck back?
There was the full...
Tell me your name.
Kara Nelson.
Why did your father take the truck back?
There was a lien on the truck, so there was supposed to be full coverage insurance on it, and it got dropped to liability.
Who dropped it?
I did.
Why?
I didn't figure I needed it.
Well, if there's a lien on it, then you have to have it.
I didn't know. I'd never had a vehicle in my name before that had a lien on it.
Well, did somebody discuss it with you after you said you dropped it?
No. He just came and took it after I dropped it. No one said nothing.
Mm-hmm. And how long had you had the truck?
Approximately 5-6 months.
And what prompted you, after 6 months, to drop the expensive part of the coverage?
Because it was expensive. It was a little more than I could afford.
And you didn't discuss that with anybody?
No.
Don't you think you should have?
Yes.
So that was a mistake?
Yes.
So now you understand why he took the truck back, because
Yes.
you did something that was irresponsible.
Yes.
Now, you called your mother, and what did you say to her?
I explained to her that my truck had been taken, and she volunteered to help me buy a car.
Well, what did she say to you?
I'll give you $2,000. That's all I can afford.
I didn't say I...
And I went. I found a car for $2,600. I paid $600. She paid a check for $2,000, and I got my car.
Okay. Now, when for the first time did your mother call you and ask you to make a payment?
I never got a phone call from her afterwards. Next thing I knew, I had court papers delivered to my house.
Well, this was in October that she gave you the money.
Yes.
And when did you have the court papers delivered?
It was approximately a month later.
In November?
Yeah.
And what did you do when you got the papers? You called her and said, what's this all about, Mom?
No, it's... My parents have never been there, so I figured this...
After she gave you the money, October 12th, and you went down and got the car, did you call her the next day, the next week, 2 weeks later?
No.
Why
I haven't
not?
talked to her. We just don't talk. We haven't talked since...
Well, it was easy for you to call her up, Mr. Schmidt, and ask her for money.
Yes. I just figured that was the least she could do for me.
According to your complaint, you have a witness.
Yes, I do. My daughter, Tricia.
With whom your son had a conversation. You're Tricia?
Yes.
I'd like to hear what you have to say.
He told my mom that, or he told me.
I don't want to hear what he told your mom. Only what he
told
told
me
you.
that he wasn't going to pay her because she's never done anything for her, and that when he
Let's
took
go
her-
back a second. After your mother gave him the money, and I assume after he got served with the papers for court, you had a conversation with him.
Yes.
Did you keep in regular touch with your brother?
Yeah, I always talked to my brother.
Well, what did he say to you when he got the papers?
He said, Mom served me, Mom's suing me.
And you said to him?
She has the right to.
And he said to you?
If she takes me to court, I'm going to tell her that it was a gift and they can't take a gift away.
Did he say why he was going to do it?
Because she never done anything for him.
And what did you say to him when he said to you, she never did anything for me?
I said, that's your own business.
Is that the whole conversation?
For that one, yeah.
After that conversation, did you have other conversations with your brother?
Yes, I have.
So you're on good terms with him?
Yes.
You like him?
Yeah. He's family.
You call him, he calls you?
Yes.
He just doesn't call your mother?
No.
He's angry with her?
Yes. He's always been angry with her.
Do you know why?
Because she sent him away.
You know why she sent him away?
Because he always got into trouble with the police.
Do you speak to your mother?
Yes.
So you were on good terms with your mother and your brother?
Yes.
Good for you. Good for you. Thank you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want you to go like this to yourself. Pinch it hard. Are you alive?
Yeah.
That she gave you.
And later today,
I stuck my hand in the bag and I was poked by a needle. The next day, I had red lines going up to my armpit. My mom came over. She said, you have to go to the hospital. She said, it looks like you have a blood infection.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Donna Fouch says her son, Michael Schmidt, owes for a loan to buy a car. Donna claims Michael has a troubled past.
Think of any reason why your sister would make up a story like that?
No. I talked to my sister that one time after I got served with court papers.
And you said something like, that's the least she could do for me. She never done anything for me before.
I did say that, but there was no agreement between me and my mom to pay the money back.
What does your mother do for a living?
She works at Winnebago.
What do you do there?
I lay basement carpet.
How much do you earn a week?
I come home with $326.
A week?
A week.
Just you and your husband are at home?
Yes.
Just you and your girlfriend, I assume?
No.
Who else?
It's me and my roommate.
You have a roommate?
We don't live together.
Oh, great. So you have a roommate who
Yes.
pays half the rent?
Yes.
Well, it sounds to me like you're in much better shape financially than your mother.
No. My dad makes a lot of money, too, who also helps pay with her bills.
But she lives with your father, or is this your stepfather?
Stepfather.
He's not responsible for you,
No.
right?
Right.
This is what I don't understand, sir. You would have me believe that without trying to contact you at all, your mother gave you this $2,000 and then went to court and sued you. You would have me believe that she didn't, as she says she did, try to call you several times and you wouldn't take her call, right?
Right.
You see, that makes sense. That's common sense. That has a smack of reality to it, that she gave you this money. She said it has to be paid back because it's a home equity loan. Otherwise, it comes out of the equity in my home, so I have to pay it back. And I'll let you know when the first payment is due. She called you, and all of a sudden you didn't want to talk to her anymore. And you didn't talk to her for a month. And then she said, I have no choice. I'm going to sue him because not only won't he take my calls to even talk about it, but he's so disrespectful to me at this time after he called me for my help, and I was there for him to help him.
For the first time ever?
Let me ask you a question, sir. I want you to go like this to yourself. Go like this. Go like this. Pinch it hard. Pinch it really hard. Are you alive?
Yeah.
That she gave you. Parents aren't perfect, and children aren't perfect. Sounds to me as if your mother has a reasonable relationship with your sibling. So what you're suggesting to me is she was a good mother to one child and not a good mother to the other. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, is there any particular reason for that you might think? Maybe you were a more difficult child. You think that's possible? The same
It's
child
possible.
that canceled the insurance on a truck when somebody else was responsible for it?
Yes.
Got my drift? After a while, you start having to take responsibility for your own actions, sir. And you're 24 years old. The time is now. And if you, as an adult, say, listen, my mother wasn't a good mother to me, and I've made a choice that I don't want to have anything to do with her. You're entitled as an adult to do that. It's foolish, but you're entitled as an adult to do that. But what you did was you called her and said, I need money. You owe her the money. Pay her the money. It's the right thing to do. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
My mom gets her money. I'm just glad it's over with.
He needs to learn that he needs to pay his bills.
My mom was given an ultimatum when I was 12. My stepdad or me. She choose him.
I guess he'll think what he wants to think.
It's over with.
If he doesn't want to talk to me, that's his choice.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Asplund versus Mays, step forward.
Bus driver Goldie Asplund is suing antique dealer Brian Mays for medical bills resulting from his negligence. Goldie claims she developed a staph infection after she pricked her finger with a pin.
Miss Asplund, it is your claim that the defendant sold you something, and as a result of him selling you something, which you will describe to me, you stuck your finger and got an infection. You want him to pay you $5,000 for your medical bills and all your pain and suffering, etc.
Yes.
Mr. Mays thinks that you're just a scam artist.
That's right.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Reading between the lines. So what did you buy from Mr. Mays? Where did you buy it? When did you buy it? And what happened to you?
February 28th, 2004. Excuse me. I went to the Danish American Center with my mom in South Minneapolis. There was an antique sale going on. We entered the hall where the sale was. There were all kinds of tables set up with all kinds of odds and ends. There was a big round table of loose jewelry. Some was bagged, and I found a bag of jewelry beads.
Of jewelry beads? How did you know that they were beads?
It said broken pieces on it.
The bag said broken pieces?
Broken pieces on tape, yes.
Was this in a clear bag? Was it in
a clear bag?
It was in a clear bag. What were you going to do with broken pieces of jewelry?
Arts and crafts. I have 3 kids, and we do little hobbies.
So you could see what was inside?
For the most part.
Okay, so go ahead.
I get home, I sat down at my coffee table with my children, and I stuck my hand in the bag, and I was poked by a needle. I got up, and I went upstairs, and I washed my hand. My thumb was bleeding a little bit. And I went downstairs, and I grabbed this big crystal ashtray that I have. I took the bag, and I emptied it out. And there were 5 loose needles in there, in this bag of beads where there should not have been needles. As the day progressed, I'd thrown them out, too. I didn't want my kids messing with them, so I threw it out. As the day progressed, that night I had a blood blister where I was poked by the jewelry, or by the needle. And the next day, I woke up with flu-like symptoms, sweating. I felt like nauseous, like I was going to throw up. And I had red lines going up to my armpit. I wasn't going to go to the hospital because I don't have medical. My mom came over. She said, you have to go to the hospital. My thumb was totally swollen up and the red lines. She said, it looks like you have a blood infection. I went to the hospital. They took me straight back into the emergency room, started an IV, and when they got the IV going after a couple hours, they brought me up to the hospital, gave me a hospital bed.
Okay, so you stayed in the hospital for a day and a half according to your complaint. Is that right?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Goldie Asplund says antique dealer Brian Mays owes for her medical bills resulting from his negligence. Brian says Goldie is trying to scam money.
Now, tell me what happened.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I have been in the antique business for 35 years. I have a very reputable name in the antique business. On February 27th, 28th, 29th of 2004, I conducted a sale at the Danish Center, and I had several tables in the center of the room. There were several bags, maybe a half a dozen bags, with possibly maybe 6, 8 earrings.
I got it.
And other things. But everything else was single items in bags. I had no broken jewelry there. She had called me up on March 15th, and she called me up and said, "Did you have the sale?" And I said, "I did." She said, "Do you have insurance?" And I said, "Why do you ask?" And she said that she had come to my sale, and she was going through the loose jewelry on the card table, poked her finger with a brooch, gone home, got blood infection, ended up in the hospital, almost died, and the doctor said that I should have to pay her $4,000 medical bills.
Okay, so she told you that she was going through the loose jewelry on the table
tables,
and
which have
poked
a
her finger.
photograph. Right.
Okay.
And then I said, "No, I don't." She said, "Okay, goodbye." And in October, I received papers from Hennepin County Court, and she had changed her story. And come to find out, after I had talked with her on March 15th, I called up my cashier and I said, "Do you believe that this woman is doing this to me?" And she said, "Well, you know what? I worked a sale for another fellow, his name is Steve, and she tried doing the same thing for him. She tried suing him, and after she couldn't sue him, she came after me."
Step up. What is your name, sir?
Steve O'Hearn.
Did you try to sue Mr. O'Hearn?
Can I
The answer is
explain
either
that?
yes or no.
No.
Tell me what you know, Mr. O'Hearn.
She called me approximately March 12th, stated she had been to my sale and bought a bag of jewelry, went home, stuck her hand in the bag of jewelry. There was a brooch in there.
Okay.
And
Not a needle.
Not a needle.
Okay.
I didn't hear needle till today, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
She told me she pricked her finger, got blood poisoning, and wanted me to pay the bill. I said, "You're probably going to run me into financial ruin." I said, "First thing you need to do is get your receipts so I can see what estate it exactly was from." She called me back about a half hour later, stated to me that she had her receipt, and told me if I'm going to go bankrupt or financial ruins, that she would, there's no sense in her suing.
So how did you get to Mr. Mays?
Through the Danish American Center's log that they had. Whoever rented the hall, they had a log of the name and number. The guy that took down the information, I gave him February 28th, and he was looking at a date before that. The wrong dates. That's why he gave me Mr. O'Hearn's name and number. And Mr. O'Hearn freaked out on me, started cussing me out and stuff. You know, I apologized to him for getting his undies in a bunch. I didn't mean to do that, and he kept hanging up on me. And so I called Brian Mays back and found out, you know, he was the right one on the date, February 28th. He was the one that rented the hall. So I called him, and I told him what happened, and I asked him if he had liability insurance, because
He doesn't need liability insurance. He should have been more careful.
There shouldn't have been needles in a jewelry bag.
I don't believe there were any needles in there. I don't believe there were needles in there. I believe you may have stuck yourself on a pin that was part of a piece of jewelry, and you're making up a better story.
No, I wouldn't come.
Oh, yes, you did.
No, I
yes,
don't
you
think
did.
so.
Oh, yes, you did. Because anybody that buys a bag of loose, broken jewelry, even if it's in a plastic bag, would take it and dump it, as you ultimately did in an ashtray. So if you, in fact, you stuck yourself on a broken piece of jewelry, not a needle. And that's what you purchased, and you should have been more careful. And don't blame anybody but yourself. You have to be careful and accept responsibility for what you do, madam. Not everything is a lawsuit. If you buy a bag that says broken pieces of jewelry, you're supposed to be more careful. Your case is dismissed. That's all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Parties are excused, Miss Steph.
I almost died. I had staph infection.
There was no debris because I went through each bag one at a time, and I throw things away.
From a bag of jewelry beads that I bought from this man.
Like broken glass and tacks and needles and so on.
With 5 loose needles in there.
There were no needles in any of the bags.
It's $4,300 in bills. That's an awful lot when I don't have medical.
I think that people getting away with these type of things is just not right.